Good morning, my dear friend. The first light of dawn quietly spills over the horizon. There is something sacred about this hour when the world has not yet begun to roar, and heaven seems just a little bit closer. The dew still clings to the grass, the skies are hushed in soft pastels, and your soul, whether wary or expectant, is awake and listening. This is not just morning, this is holy ground. And you, breathing deeply in this gentle silence, are right where you need to be. Maybe you did not sleep well last night. Maybe you woke up feeling like something is missing. Or maybe you have been carrying too much for too long. I want to tell you about a woman I spoke with not long ago. She sat across from me with tired eyes and a trembling voice, holding her coffee cup like it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. Her smile was polite, but her soul was unraveling. She had lost her father a few months before, and though the world had moved on, her heart had not. "I am functioning," she said, "but I do not feel alive anymore." She was not angry at God, but she was not sure how to talk to him either. The clutter of grief had silenced her prayers. Her days had become survival. Her nights, a maze of thoughts too heavy to rest through. And yet she showed up, broken but present, silent, but searching. That is when I knew God does not require perfect words. He meets us in honest ones. Maybe her story feels familiar to you. Maybe your clutter is different: regret, fear, confusion, loneliness. Maybe your soul has been dragging things it was never meant to carry. Things you have tried to bury so deep, they now echo through every thought. Or maybe you have grown numb, unsure if peace is even possible anymore. I understand. More importantly, God understands. He is not looking for performance. He is waiting for surrender, and that begins, not with shouting, but with simply showing up. This morning, I want to walk with you not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who has sat in silence, too. Together, we will move gently, intentionally, through a conversation with God, not the kind you recite, but the kind that rises from places too deep for words. This is not a checklist of requests. This is an invitation to realignment, a return to what was always meant to be your heart uncluttered, your soul unburdened, your spirit at peace in the presence of the one who made you. You do not have to do this in your own strength. That is the power of prayer. It is not a monologue into the void. It is communion with the Creator. It is where grief meets grace, where confusion bows to clarity, where wounds encounter the one who heals. Faith does not remove every storm, but it does anchor you in every one. And this morning, that anchor is here, waiting, ready. So if your hands are tired of holding on, let them fall open. If your voice is tired of explaining, let it rest. If your heart feels too messy to be heard, know that God does not step back, He draws closer. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not too late. Take a breath. You have arrived at the doorstep of divine conversation. The room is ready. The invitation is open. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you this morning not with perfect words, but with a weary heart. The sun is rising, and the world outside feels quiet and beautiful, but inside me, there is a weight I cannot seem to name. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is just there pressing on my chest, clouding my thoughts, slowing my steps. I wake up tired, not just in body, but in soul. There are no tears falling right now, but the H is real. The H of doing too much and feeling too little. The H of moving forward, but feeling like I am not really getting anywhere. The H of praying, but wondering if anything changes. And so I bring this H to you. Not polished, not dressed up, just honest. I do not know when it started. Maybe it was a series of small disappointments that piled up like dust in the corners of my spirit. Maybe it was the heartbreak I never fully grieved, or the fear I never spoke aloud. Maybe it was all the roles I have tried to fill, all the expectations I have tried to meet, all the ways I have kept going when I really needed to stop. I have become good at functioning, Lord, good at smiling, showing up and checking boxes, but deep inside, something feels cluttered and confused, and I miss the sound of your voice. I remember a time when I felt you near without even trying, when I would wake with a song in my heart and fall asleep with peace in my soul. I remember when prayer felt like breathing and not like a task I had to remember. I miss those days. And maybe this morning, in this quiet place before the noise of the world begins, I am just asking for a spark of that again. I am asking for your presence to touch what feels numb. I am asking you to sit with me in this heaviness, not just to take it away, but to help me understand what it is. I want to stop carrying what you never asked me to hold. There are burdens I have picked up along the way that do not belong to me. Some are old regrets. Some are fears about the future. Some are things I thought I had surrendered, but I now see I just pushed them aside. Like that old suitcase tucked away in the corner. I have kept them with me out of habit. I have told myself they are part of who I am. But this morning, I realize they are not. They are not my identity. They are not my calling. And they are not from you. So I begin here, not with solutions, not with a 10-point plan, just with a whisper. Help me. Help me unclench my fists. Help me let go of what is weighing me down. Help me to stop pretending that I am fine when I am not. You see me, God. You see every corner of my mind, every hidden thought, every buried cry. And still, you do not look away. You are not ashamed of my weakness. You are not surprised by my exhaustion. You do not turn from my honesty. If anything, you draw closer when I stop hiding. So I take this moment to breathe in your grace. Maybe I do not feel strong today. Maybe I do not feel brave or joyful or full of faith. But I feel you pulling me gently, not with pressure but with kindness. Like a quiet wind on my skin or the soft glow of light through a window. You are near. And that is enough for now. That is enough to start this day. I do not need all the answers. I just need you to be with me. I will not try to fix everything today. I will not try to carry what was never mine. I will not rehearse all the things that went wrong yesterday, or fear what might go wrong tomorrow. Right now, in this very breath, I choose to come to you just as I am, with my cluttered thoughts, with my tired heart, with my fragile hope. I come to you not to impress you, but because I need you. I need your peace to fill the spaces that feel empty. I need your voice to quiet the noise inside me. I need your touch to remind me that I am still yours. This morning is sacred not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. This morning matters not because I have it together, because I am opening my heart to the one who holds all things together. I do not want to go through another day numb and distracted. I do not want to rush past the moments that could bring me healing. I want to feel again. I want to believe again. I want to trust that you are still working even when I feel stuck. So I hand you what I do not understand. I release what I cannot carry. Even if I do not have the strength to shout, I know you hear my whisper. Even if I do not have words to explain, you know my need. Even if I do not have faith big enough to move mountains, you still meet me in the mustard seed. That is the kind of father you are. Not waiting for my perfection, but meeting me in my surrender. So here I am, not cleaned up, not finished, but open, willing, here. And if all I do today is begin by being with you, then that will be enough. That will be holy. That will be healing. Let this morning be a turning point, not because I force it to be, because I allow you to enter the places I have kept closed. Come gently, Lord, and wake what has fallen asleep. Come kindly, and show me how to breathe again. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And even in my weariness, I am not alone. You are here. Lord, I am still here, sitting in the quiet, breathing in this morning air that feels like mercy. I have not moved far since I last spoke. My heart is still heavy, but now it feels a little softer. There is something about saying the truth out loud that loosens the grip of it. I can sense you near, not rushing me, not asking me to hurry through this. And I am grateful for that, because I think I need to stay in this moment a little longer. I need to cry out not just with words, but with the weight that has been pressing against my soul for too long. There is a mess inside me I have grown used to. I hate to admit it, but it is true. I have adjusted to living with what does not belong. Thoughts I do not want. Fears I do not understand. Memories I have not faced. It is as if I have built my life around them, like furniture placed around a box I never unpacked. And now, even though I want peace, I do not know how to find it in the middle of this disorder. There is no room to breathe, no room to listen, no room for you to speak clearly. And yet I know you are here, God. I do not know when it started, this piling on of things I never asked for, expectations from others, disappointments I never named, doubts I pretended did not exist, regrets I did not want to feel again. I have been collecting them, storing them away in corners of my heart where I thought they would not show, but they do show. In the way I speak to people I love, in the way I run from silence, in the way I hesitate to trust, in the way I come to you guarded, distracted, exhausted. I want to believe that you are strong enough to sort through this mess, that you are kind enough to sit in it with me, that you are wise enough to know what to keep and what to release. Because right now, I do not even know what I am holding anymore. Some of it belongs to the past words spoken over me that I never forgot, even when I told myself they did not matter. Some of it is fear of the future, a fear that I will never really change, never really heal, never really live free. And some of it is shame. Shame for not being stronger, for still feeling this way, for needing help, but you are not pushing me away. I sense that even here, you are not disgusted by my chaos. You are not irritated by my confusion. You are not asking me to be anything more than honest. And that is what I am offering you this morning. Honesty, raw, unfiltered, trembling honesty. I need help, not a quick fix, not a temporary distraction, but real help. Soul help. I do not want to manage this anymore. I want to be free. I confess that I have tried to fix myself. I have filled my calendar, filled my mind, filled my life with so many things in an effort to outrun what hurts. But the ache always finds me, no matter how far I run or how busy I get. It waits, and I am tired of running. I am tired of hiding. I am tired of pretending that the clutter is not there. I want to see clearly again, to think clearly, to love clearly. I want to know what it feels like to wake up with a heart that is not carrying 1,000 unspoken burdens. So I bring the clutter to you, every unresolved tension, every conversation that still echoes, every decision I regret, every fear I keep feeding, every small wound that I told myself did not matter, but never healed. I bring the late-night worries that play over and over in my head. I bring the what-ifs that have become louder than your promises. I bring the silent tears, the forgotten dreams, the inner war between faith and fear. I bring it all. Not because I know what to do with it, but because I know you do. Teach me how to let go, Lord, not just once, but again and again, until it becomes the way I live. Teach me that freedom does not come from understanding everything, but from trusting you with everything. Show me how to live uncluttered, even when the world feels chaotic. Show me how to make room not just for comfort, but for truth, for grace, for you. I do not want to hold on to things that steal my joy. I do not want to serve you with half my heart while the other half is buried in old pain. If I am honest, I sometimes feel like I should have outgrown this, like faith should have made me immune to this kind of mess. But maybe faith is not about being immune. Maybe it is about being willing to be seen, willing to be known, willing to be loved even in the middle of the cleanup. Maybe you are not waiting for me to arrive at some perfect version of myself. Maybe you are standing in the middle of the mess, waiting for me to meet you there. That changes everything. It means I do not have to wait for peace. I can begin to receive it now. I do not have to earn clarity. I can be led into it, one surrendered breath at a time. I do not have to fix myself to be loved. I am already loved, fully, deeply, without condition. And in that love, I can finally begin to release what was never mine to carry. I can clear out the lies, sweep away the guilt, take down the walls, let the light in. So here I am, not strong, but willing, not whole, but open, not perfect, but present. I choose not to run anymore. I choose not to numb. I choose not to hide. I choose to cry out, even if my voice shakes, even if the tears come, even if I do not have the words. You know what my soul is saying. And that is enough. That is prayer. That is surrender. That is where healing begins. And that is where I want to stay. Father, I am still speaking to you, still sitting here in the quiet, still waiting for something deep inside me to settle. After the clutter has been named and the tears have been allowed to fall, I notice what lingers is not shame, but longing, a deep ache, not only to be free from the weight, but to return to something I once knew, something that felt like home. I can quite explain it. But I remember a time when being with you was simple, when prayer was not a chore, when worship was not drowned out by worry, when I did not have to reach so hard to feel close to you. And I miss that, God. There was a season when I heard you so clearly. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. But your presence was unmistakable. It came in small waves of breeze through the trees. A verse that felt written just for me. A whisper in my heart that brought peace I could not find anywhere else. I remember walking through my days with a sense that I was not alone. That you were walking beside me. Not just on the mountaintops, but even in the ordinary. That closeness felt like breath. Natural. Life-giving. Steady. And now, that memory stirs something inside me. A holy H for what I know I have lost, or maybe just misplaced. I do not blame you for the distance I feel now, if I am honest. I know I have allowed other voices to get louder than yours. The noise of the world, the expectations I place on myself, the anxiety I have tried to manage on my own. Somewhere along the way, I traded stillness for productivity, traded wonder for control, and in doing so, I stopped listening. I filled every quiet space with thoughts, with questions, with endless scrolling and striving, and the soft sound of your voice, the one that used to guide me so gently, got harder to hear. But I remember it, Lord. I remember that voice, the one that did not rush me, the one that did not condemn me, the one that simply invited me to come closer. And today, I want to remember it not with regret, but with hope. Because if I heard you before, I can hear you again. If we walked closely once, that path still exists. I have not wandered too far. I am not beyond the reach of your love. You are not lost to me. I just need to be still again, to return to that sacred place where you speak, and I simply listen. I do not need a dramatic sign. I do not need the sky to split open. I just need the quiet inside me to be restored. Because I know that is where you often meet me. In the stillness, in the slowness, in the moments when I finally stop trying to fill the silence. That is where you begin to speak again. And your words are not complicated. They are not heavy. They come like light through the cracks. They come like water to the dry places. They come like a friend pulling up a chair just to sit with me. So teach me to recognize your voice again, not just in the big moments, but in the everyday. Help me to tune my heart to the subtle shifts, the gentle nudges, the quiet reminders, the sudden calm in the middle of chaos. I want to become familiar with the way you speak to me uniquely, because you are not distant, you are not silent, but you are patient, and I have to slow down to match your pace. I have to make room, not just in my day, but in my heart. I have to relearn how to be still, not just externally, but deep within. I admit that stillness can be scary. It forces me to face what I have been avoiding. It reveals the questions I have buried, but it also uncovers the beauty I have forgotten. The beauty of being known. The beauty of resting in your presence. The beauty of no longer striving. I want to live in that kind of awareness, not just visit it when I am desperate, but dwell in it daily. Let it become the rhythm of my soul. Let it become the place I return to before I begin and after I finish everything else. Lord, help me to clear the mental clutter that competes for my attention. Help me to recognize when I am listening to fear more than truth. Help me to notice when I have made room for distraction, but not devotion. I do not want to live on memories of your presence. I want fresh encounters. I want new intimacy. I want the still voice to become my anchor again. Bring to my mind the times you showed up for me in ways I did not deserve. The moments I felt peace for no reason. The nights I cried and sensed you holding me, even though nothing outside had changed. Let those memories be more than nostalgia. Let them be reminders that you are still the same, that your voice still reaches down into the deepest places, that even if I have gone quiet, you have not forgotten how to speak. And in that, I find hope. Hope that my relationship with you is not dependent on perfection. Hope that I can begin again not from scratch, but from where we left off. Hope that you still delight in spending time with me, not because of what I do, but because of who you are. That you are not measuring my prayers, but receiving them. That you are not looking for performance, but presence. Let my heart begin to soften again. Let my ears begin to open again. Let my spirit begin to recognize that you have never left. Maybe the still voice has not vanished, it has just been waiting for my attention. And this morning, I give it. Not because I have figured everything out, but because I remember what it felt like to be held in peace. And I want that again. I want you again. So I lead in, I close my eyes, I breathe slow, and I whisper, speak to me. I am listening. Lord, as I sit quietly and wait for the sound of your voice to rise within the stillness, something unexpected begins to happen. Memories start surfacing. Feelings I pushed down start stirring, not in chaos, but in clarity. It is like light slowly turning on in a room I have not visited in a long time. And in that quiet glow, I begin to see what I have been carrying. Not just the visible burdens, the ones I talk about, the ones I cry over, but the hidden ones. The silent weights that settled into my heart without permission. There are things I have never spoken aloud, things I told myself were too small to matter, too old to name, too painful to revisit. but they still live in me. They still shape how I respond, how I believe, how I love. They live under layers of strength I had to build, beneath smiles I have learned to wear. But this morning, Father, I do not want to ignore them anymore. I do not want to carry them any further. So I ask you to help me name what has stayed unnamed for too long. There is grief that I buried because I did not think I had the right to mourn. Losses that never made it into conversation because they were not loud or visible. But they changed me. They chipped away at parts of my joy. They created quiet fears I did not understand. And now, as I bring them to you, I realize that what felt forgotten still holds a place inside me. I remember the friendships that faded without closure, the prayers that felt unanswered, the dreams that did not survive. They left behind questions I never asked and sadness I never admitted. God, I bring those to you now. I speak their names in the silence, not to dwell on the pain, but to stop pretending it is not there. I do not want my heart to be a museum of hidden sorrow. I want it to be a sanctuary of truth. Even when the truth is messy, I want to know that you do not just meet me in the clean places. You meet me in the places I have avoided, in the corners I have swept pain into. You meet me there not with judgment, but with mercy. Not with disappointment, but with healing. There is also anger. Lord, I did not expect it, but it rises up as I remember what hurt. Not loud, not wild, just a steady pulse beneath my skin. Anger over things I could not control. Over words that were spoken carelessly. Over trust that was broken. I never gave it space. I tried to move on, but I see now that I did not move through it. I just moved around it. And that anger has shaped me. It has made me cautious where I used to be open, quiet where I used to be brave, suspicious where I used to trust. I do not want that to be my story anymore. I do not want bitterness to become my lens. I want to forgive, even if I am still hurting. I want to release, even if I do not understand. I want to be free, even if closure never comes. Because holding on has not made me safer. It has only made me smaller. It has only made it harder to hear your voice and feel your peace. So I hand you the anger too. I name it. I breathe through it, and I lay it down. There are other weights too. Lord, quiet insecurities that whisper when I try something new. Comparison that creeps in when I see someone else's joy. Fear that tells me I am not enough or that I missed my chance. I did not mean to let those things in, but they came in through cracks I did not notice. Through wounds I thought were healed. Through moments when I forgot who I am and whose I am. And now they sit in the background. Coloring everything. Dimming the light I once carried without question. Help me face them with honesty and compassion. Help me see them not as failures, but as invitations. Invitations to be known more deeply, to be loved more fully, to be healed more thoroughly. I believe you are not intimidated by any part of me. You are not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me. You do not need me to sort it all before I come to you. You just want me to bring it, as it is, as I am. So I do. I open every drawer, every shelf, every hidden compartment of my heart. I do not want to hold back anything from you anymore. I do not want to manage what you are ready to redeem. I do not want to suppress what you are ready to soothe. I want to be whole, and wholeness begins here, in the honesty, in the naming, in the quiet confession that says, yes, this is what I have carried, and no, I can keep carrying it. Lord, remind me that healing does not require perfection. It just requires permission. I do not need to have all the answers. I just need to say yes. Yes to letting you in. Yes to letting you touch what is tender. Yes to starting from where I am, not where I think I should be. I want to walk in freedom, not just talk about it. I want my soul to breathe again. I know this is not a one-day journey. Some weights are layered. Some wounds take time. But I trust that naming them is the beginning of releasing them. I trust that as I speak them in your presence, something begins to shift. The lies begin to lose their grip. The fear begins to loosen. The pain begins to soften. And your truth begins to rise. Let that truth sink deep. Let it rise higher than the voices of the past. Let it be louder than the echo of regret. Let it become the foundation I stand on, not what I have carried, but what you have promised. I am not my pain. I am not my failure. I am not my fears. I am yours, and in your hands, even the most hidden weight can be lifted. So I will keep naming. I will keep opening. I will keep surrendering, one breath at a time, one truth at a time, one wound at a time, because I believe you meet me here, and where you are, freedom follows. Father, now that I have named what I have carried, I feel the weight of it even more clearly. It is strange how something hidden can feel heavier once it is spoken. There is no more pretending now. No more disguising the H or reshaping the memories into something easier to hold. This is real. And yet, even with everything laid bare before you, I hear you whisper that I am still welcome, still loved, still held, that you are not asking for a polished version of me, but the honest one who dares to come with open hands. So here I am, and I know that what happens next is not automatic. It is not just about saying what hurts or what is broken. It is about what I choose to do with it. It is about whether I hold on to it out of habit, or fear or pride, or whether I decide to release it into your hands, even if it is unfamiliar to live without it. Letting go is not passive. It is an act of courage. It is standing at the edge of what I have always known and choosing to trust what I cannot yet see. It is unclenching my fists and saying, I do not want this to lead me anymore. God, I want to let go. I want to be free. But letting go does not come naturally to me. I have grown used to the H. It became part of my rhythm. It told me stories I believed. That I had to be guarded. That I had to be in control. That I had to be strong all the time. That pain was proof I was paying attention. I let it shape my identity, even though deep down I knew you were calling me to something lighter, truer, more whole. And so now I wrestle not because I do not trust you, but because this release means change. It means becoming unfamiliar to myself in the best possible way. It means no longer hiding behind wounds or excuses or self-made walls. It means opening the door to peace and letting it take up space where bitterness once lived. It means walking in forgiveness, even when the apology never came. It means no longer rehearsing old stories of betrayal, but instead making space for new beginnings. I feel it now, Lord. The trembling at the threshold. The part of me that wants to run back to what is known, even if it is painful. But I do not want to be ruled by fear anymore. I do not want to measure my decisions based on what hurt me in the past. I do not want to hold on to control just to feel safe. I want you to lead me forward, not my fear. I want truth to be my foundation, not trauma. And I want love, not just survival, to shape the way I live. So I choose, right now, to let go of what I cannot fix, to release what I never had the power to carry rightly. I let go of needing to understand why it happened. I let go of trying to rewrite what has already been lived. I let go of the lies that whispered I would never be free. I let go of the anger that once gave me energy, but slowly poisoned my peace. I let go of the guilt that told me I was too far gone. I let go of the identity I built around brokenness, and I make room for the identity you have always seen in me, beloved, redeemed, whole. This is not a loud moment. It is not a shout. It is a quiet surrender, a decision deep in my spirit to stop feeding the pain and start following your voice. I do not have to know what comes next. I do not have to be fully healed to begin walking forward. I just have to say yes. Yes to releasing what never served me. Yes to trusting you more than my memories. Yes to stepping into the unknown, believing that you are already there. Lord, help me remember this decision when the temptation comes to pick up what I laid down, when I start rehearsing old pain or revisiting old fears. Remind me of this moment. Remind me of the peace that comes from trusting you. Remind me that freedom is not just something I pray for, but something I practice, moment by moment, choice by choice. I know there will be days when I forget, days when the past tries to drag me back. But you are patient, and you will remind me again that I was never meant to carry what you died to free me from. You never called me to prove my strength by dragging around my suffering. You called me to walk light, to walk loved, to walk in step with your spirit. And if you are patient with me, then I will be patient with myself too. I will not rush this, but I will not resist it either. So I let go of the bitterness that made me feel powerful. I let go of the narrative that painted me as a victim. I let go of the comparison that robbed me of contentment. I let go of the perfectionism that made me afraid to fail. I let go of the pride that told me I had to handle everything alone. And I let go of the fear that told me if I opened my heart again, it would only break. Because I believe in something greater than fear. I believe in you, in your faithfulness, in your kindness, in your ability to restore what has been torn. I believe that letting go is not weakness. It is worship. It is trust in motion. It is the open-handed life that says, I do not need to control this, because I trust the one who holds it all. Let that trust grow in me, Lord. Let it settle into my thoughts. Let it shape my actions. Let it guide my decisions. Let it be the new foundation beneath my feet, because I am ready to stop being ruled by what was, ready to walk into what is, ready to stop dragging what no longer belongs to me, ready to be defined not by my wounds, but by your love. And in this moment, I feel something shifting. Maybe not everything, but something. A corner of my soul has lightened. A new breath fills my lungs. I do not know what tomorrow holds, but I know I have made a decision today that matters. One that makes space. One that opens the door. One that invites healing to come and stay. I let go. Not perfectly, but fully, not all at once, but truly. And with that release, I make room for peace. I make room for joy. I make room for you. Father, now that I have let go of what was never mine to hold, I begin to feel a strange quiet inside me. Not empty, but open. Not silent, but expectant. There is a stillness I have not known in a long time, and it feels like the beginning of something sacred. But even as I breathe in this new peace, I feel you gently turning my attention to something deeper, still something that can't be skipped over or hidden beneath surrender. Forgiveness. This is the place where I pause, not because I am unwilling, but because I know that forgiveness is sacred ground. It is not easy. It does not come quickly. It is not a switch I can flip. It is a posture of the heart that feels both impossible and necessary. But I trust you, God, to walk with me through it. I trust that if you are asking me to forgive, then you are also giving me the strength to do it. So I come to the altar, not an altar built with stones or fire, but one made of vulnerability and honesty. I lay down names, faces, moments, words I wish were never spoken, decisions that broke trust, seasons that left scars. I bring them here not to rehash the pain, but to release its grip, because I know that as long as I hold on to the offense, I cannot fully embrace the freedom you offer me. Lord, some of the wounds I carry feel too deep to forgive. Some betrayals still sting when I remember them. Some stories do not feel finished. Some people never said sorry. But you are not asking me to wait for closure. You are inviting me to choose peace, even in the absence of resolution. You are showing me that forgiveness is not about excusing what happened, but about refusing to let it rule my heart any longer. So I speak forgiveness not because I feel it yet, but because I want to. I forgive those who left when I needed them most. I forgive the silence that came when I cried for help. I forgive the harsh words that still echo. I forgive the indifference that made me question my worth. I forgive the manipulation that distorted my view of love. I forgive the unmet expectations, the forgotten birthdays, the distance that grew where closeness used to be. I also forgive myself. That is the one I did not expect to be so hard, but it is. I forgive myself for not seeing the signs, for staying too long, for speaking too soon, for building walls instead of bridges, for believing lies instead of truth, for trying to fix what was never mine to fix, for not healing faster, for needing time. I let go of the shame that lingers in the corners of my thoughts. You never called me to carry guilt like a badge. You called me to walk in grace. God, I realize now that forgiveness is not a single act. It is a continual offering. Sometimes I may have to choose it daily, sometimes even hourly, but I trust that with each choice, something in me is being healed. The walls are coming down, the air is clearing, the heart is making space for joy again. I want to live unburdened by bitterness. I want to stop rehearsing old stories and start writing new ones. I want to live from the overflow of grace, not the leftovers of pain. I know this is not something I can do alone. Forgiveness is a divine strength, a miracle that starts small and grows with every surrendered moment. So I ask you to meet me here. Sit with me as I weep over what could have been. Stay with me as I breathe through the memories. Guide my trembling hands as I open the doors I once sealed shut. And as I do, remind me that you have never asked me to give what you've not already given me. Because you, Lord, are the author of forgiveness. You have forgiven me more times than I can count. For thoughts I never spoke, for actions I justified, for days I chose distance over devotion, and you did it without hesitation, without limit, without making me earn it. That kind of mercy humbles me. It breaks down the pride that insists I wait for someone else to go first. It reminds me that grace is not deserved, it is given. And I want to live from that place. I do not want to be a prisoner of past offenses. I want to be a carrier of peace. I want to be someone who loves freely, who trusts again even after being hurt, who reflects your character more than my wounds. I know it won't always be easy. There will be days when the feelings come back, when the pain tries to rewrite the truth, but I will anchor myself in your promises, not in my emotions. I will declare freedom, even when it feels like I am still in chains, because I believe that speaking forgiveness creates space for healing to rush in. Let this be the day, Lord, when I stop guarding old injuries and start building new trust. Let this be the day when I no longer allow my story to be shaped by what someone else failed to do. Let this be the day when my identity is no longer wrapped around my wounds, but is found in your love. You have always seen me as more than my brokenness. And now, I want to see others through that same lens. Even those who hurt me, even those who did not know how to love me well, even those who never knew how deeply their actions affected me. I release them not to forget, but to be free, not to excuse, but to live, not to erase the past, but to redeem the present, because I believe redemption is still possible. That what was lost can still lead to something good. That what was damaged can still birth something beautiful. That my life, healed and whole, can be a testimony of grace greater than pain. And so, Father, I lift it all to you. The names, the stories, the moments, I lift them not with clenched fists, but with open hands. Let my life be an altar of forgiveness. Let my breath speak peace into places where silence once screamed. Let my heart reflect the mercy that changed everything for me. And in that mercy, let new life begin. Father, now that I have placed forgiveness on the altar, spoken what needed to be released, I sit here in a kind of stillness I am not used to. It is not uncomfortable, but it is unfamiliar. There is no rush of emotion, no overwhelming flood of joy. Just silence, A quiet space left behind where pain used to live, where bitterness once built its walls. And I wonder, is this what peace begins, like, not loud or bright, but empty and honest? It is strange how quiet everything feels, not just around me, but within. The voices that once competed for my attention have faded. The weight I once thought I needed to carry is no longer pressing against my chest. And now, in this hush, I feel both lighter and a little unsure. I have made room, but I have not yet filled it. And that gap, that pause between release and renewal, is where I sit with you now. God, what do I do with this space? This open place inside me that was once crowded with things I no longer want. Part of me wants to fill it quickly, to grab something comforting and familiar, even if it is not good, because the silence feels vulnerable, and vulnerability has always felt risky. But I do not want to go backward. I do not want to reach for things that numbed me just to avoid being still. So I stay here, with you, in the silence. And I listen not for answers, but for presence. Not for loud declarations, but for the quiet assurance that you are still here, even when nothing is being said. And as I sit with this stillness, I begin to notice something gentle rising. Not noise, not distraction, but awareness, a soft awareness that something holy is unfolding beneath the surface. Lord, help me not to fear this silence. Help me to trust that you are doing something even when I cannot see it or feel it. I know that not every sacred moment is marked by emotion. Some are marked by emptiness, a holy emptiness that makes room for something new to grow, like soil that has been cleared, like a room swept clean, like a canvas waiting for color. I sense that this silence is not punishment. It is preparation. It is not abandonment. It is an invitation to slow down enough to notice what I have been missing, to listen to what I have been too hurried to hear, to breathe in peace without trying to earn it. This is where intimacy begins again, not in activity, but in stillness, not in noise, but in presence. I confess that silence used to scare me. It made me feel unproductive, unseen, even unworthy. I thought that if I was not doing something or saying something or feeling something, I must be doing faith wrong. But now I see that maybe faith grows strongest in the quiet. Maybe it is here, in the stillness, that roots go deep, that trust takes shape, that surrender becomes real. Lord, if you are not speaking loudly right now, it does not mean you have gone. It does not mean I am forgotten. It means you are teaching me to listen beyond the surface, to tune my soul to the frequency of your spirit, to become comfortable with the calm. You are still God in the silence. You are still love in the waiting. You are still near in the pause. So I will not fill this silence with distraction. I will not rush through it to get to something that feels more exciting. I will let it do its work in me. Let it reveal what noise tried to hide. Let it clear the fog of overstimulation. Let it soften my heart in places I did not know were hard. I do not want to run from stillness anymore. I want to dwell in it long enough to be changed. Maybe this is where healing deepens. Not in the dramatic moment, but in the quiet turning of my heart back to you. Maybe peace does not arrive in a wave, but in a whisper. And maybe joy begins not in laughter, but in rest. I have spent so long chasing after movement, after progress, after signs. But now I want to learn how to abide, how to be still and know that you are God not just around me, but within me. Teach me, Lord, how to remain in this posture of stillness, how to resist the urge to perform, how to welcome this sacred emptiness as the space where transformation begins. Let this be a holy pause, a breath between what was and what will be, a sacred space where I let go of every expectation and simply say, I am here, I am listening, I am ready. There is something humbling about this silence. It reminds me that I do not have to lead this process. I do not have to orchestrate the outcome. I just have to stay close, to stay honest, to stay surrendered, because you are the one who heals. You are the one who restores. You are the one who knows what comes next, even when I do not. And maybe that is the whole point of this moment, to remind me that I was never meant to be the one in control, that I can let go and still be safe, that I can release and still be whole, that I can be still and still be loved. This silence is not absence, it is shelter, a place where I can stop striving and simply be with you, be real, be known. So I sit in the quiet and let it wash over me like morning light, soft and steady, patient and true. I let the silence speak what words cannot. I let it hold the parts of me that do not need fixing, just resting. I let it become the doorway to something deeper, something truer, something eternal. And in this space, I remember that you are not only the God of miracles and power, you are the God of silence and stillness too. And here, in this holy hush, I am learning to trust you all over again, God. As I linger here in this sacred stillness, I begin to sense that the quiet was never meant to be empty. It was meant to be revealing, like a gentle clearing of clouds. I start to see what had gone unnoticed in the noise. And what I see, Lord, is this: I have let things rule my heart that were never meant to lead me. I have allowed emotions, memories, even fears to sit where only you belong. This is hard to admit, but I trust you enough to be honest. When life got confusing or painful, I started following my feelings instead of your truth. I let anger make decisions. I let fear shape my prayers. I let shame define how I saw myself. And slowly, without realizing it, those things began to rule me. They became louder than your voice. They took the throne of my heart, the place I know was made only for you. But now, in this silence where all the noise has fallen away, I can finally see clearly. I see the patterns that kept me in cycles of defeat. I see how quickly I made comfort my king, letting it dictate my obedience. I see how easily I elevated the approval of others above your approval. I gave my heart away in pieces, Lord, without realizing that anything I enthrone will eventually shape who I become. So now I ask you to help me realign what leads me, to gently remove the false rulers I have bowed to take back the center of my heart with your grace, your wisdom, your truth, I do not want to live led by temporary emotions. I want to live led by eternal truth. I do not want to be driven by what hurts. I want to be grounded by what heals. I do not want my decisions to be reactive. I want them to be rooted in you. Father, show me what has taken your place. Is it pride disguised as strength? Is it fear dressed up as wisdom? Is it resentment wearing the mask of protection? Whatever it is, I do not want it to lead me anymore. I want my heart to be ruled by peace, not panic, by courage, not control, by grace, not guilt. And only you can establish that kind of order. Only you can reign in a way that brings life instead of pressure, freedom instead of striving. I remember now that you are not just a healer or a helper. You are a king. And the throne of my heart is not symbolic, it is sacred. What sits there governs how I love, how I serve, how I live. And if anything other than you is ruling me, then confusion will always follow. But where you reign, peace is not rare, it is natural. Where you reign, clarity is not distant, it is near. Where you reign, love is not a transaction, it is a foundation. God, I do not want a divided heart. I do not want to worship with one part of me while another part clings to fear. I do not want to serve you publicly while silently obeying the voice of doubt. I do not want to say I trust you while still letting anxiety shape my expectations. You are not a guest in my life. You are not a backup plan. You are the only one worthy to lead me, to guide me, to dwell at the center of all that I am. So I come to you again not to offer perfection, but permission. I open my hands, my thoughts, my affections, and I say, reign here, in this heart, in this mind, in every corner I once closed off. Take your rightful place. Displace what does not belong. Uproot what I planted out of fear. Tear down what I built on insecurity, and rebuild me, one surrendered choice at a time. Lord, I know this realignment may not be instant. Some of these patterns are deep. Some of these habits are familiar. But even if the shifting takes time, I want you to lead it. I want you to be the one I follow when I am uncertain. I want your voice to be louder than the inner critic. I want your truth to be heavier than the lies I once believed. Teach me what it means to choose you again and again, in every small moment. Let my words come under your authority. Let my thoughts be filtered through your wisdom. Let my reactions be softened by your mercy. Let my priorities reflect your heart. I want my life to say that you are not just a part of it, but the center of it, not an accessory, but the anchor, not someone I visit, but someone I walk with. You are the king, and my soul finds rest only when you reign. In this realignment, I know there may be things I need to lay down again, expectations I built around myself, attachments that pull me away from peace, habits that comforted me but kept me small. And so I say yes, even if it means letting go again, even if it means being stretched, even if it means discomfort. Because anything that brings you closer is worth it. Anything that removes the noise is a gift. Anything that helps me hear you clearly again is a miracle I welcome. And maybe that is what this entire journey has been about, not just healing or peace, but restoration of the order you designed for me. A return to the way things were always meant to be. You leading, me following. You speaking, me listening. You guiding, me trusting. Not perfectly, but faithfully, not without mistakes, but without resistance. So let this moment be a marking one, a line drawn in the quiet where I say with all that I have, I want you to rule here, in every desire, in every decision, in every place I have tried to lead myself. You are wise where I am unsure. You are steady where I am shaky. You are truth where I am tangled in lies. You are love when I am most unloving. And I want more of you and less of everything else. Whatever it takes, God. Bring my heart back into alignment with yours, even if it is slow, even if it is subtle, even if I do not see the full picture right away. I trust that you are doing something deep beneath the surface, and I trust that when you rule, everything finds its place. My thoughts settle, my fears shrink, my heart steadies, my purpose sharpens. Let my life become a reflection of your order, not my chaos. Let my spirit move in rhythm with yours. Let every throne that was built on anything less than your love be removed, so that only you remain. Father, as I sit with the realization that you alone are worthy to lead my heart, something in me begins to breathe deeper. There is a calm I did not expect. Not because everything around me has changed, because something within me has shifted. It is like the furniture of my soul has been moved into its proper place. Where there once was chaos, there is now a quiet sense of structure, a peace that does not scream, but settles. This is not just relief, this is order. Divine order, and I did not even know how much I needed it until now. For so long, I lived under the weight of disarray, not just externally, but spiritually. My days were shaped by whatever shouted the loudest. My focus was easily stolen by urgency, by insecurity, by distraction dressed up as purpose. I was doing things, many things, but not necessarily the right things. And though I meant well, I often moved without alignment. I chased after clarity, but ignored the foundation it required. I asked for direction, but resisted correction. And slowly, disorder began to feel normal. But now, in this stillness you have brought me to, I see the difference between activity and assignment, between busy and intentional, between movement and progress. And I do not want to keep filling my life with things that drain me just because they seem good on the surface. I want to walk in what is right, not just right by human standards, but right by you. I want your order, God, the kind that anchors my steps even when the winds rise, the kind that quiets my thoughts even when answers are unclear. So help me, Lord, to build my days around what you value, not what the world says matters, not what my emotions tell me is urgent, but what you whisper in wisdom. Show me where I have made idols out of routines. Reveal where I have given priority to things that do not feed my soul. Help me to dismantle the false narratives that productivity equals purpose. Remind me that peace is a signpost of your presence, and that anything constantly stealing my peace may not be sent from you. Reorder my time, reorder my focus, reorder my reactions. Let your truth be the plumb line I return to, not my fluctuating feelings. Let your spirit be the rhythm I follow, not the push of pressure or the fear of falling behind. I want to rise each morning with clarity, not just about what I need to do, but about who I am and where you are calling me to stand. And when confusion tries to creep in again, let me pause long enough to ask, is this aligned with you, or is it just loud? I know now that order does not mean everything is perfect. It means everything is in place, the right things in the right order, and most importantly, you first, always you first. Because when you are first, I no longer strive for identity, I live from it. I no longer chase after love, I walk in it. I no longer fear tomorrow, I trust that you have already gone ahead. There is freedom in that, Father, a freedom I did not know I was missing. But now that I have tasted it, I never want to go back, even in small things. I want to walk in alignment. In conversations, in decisions, in the way I treat my body, in the way I manage my thoughts, in the way I listen, speak, and give. Let everything flow from the order you have established. Let nothing be accidental or reactionary. Let it all reflect intention, surrender, and peace. Because where there is order, there is beauty, and where there is beauty born from order, your glory shines. And Lord, I ask you to help me guard this order, not with fear, but with discernment, because I know how quickly life can pull me out of rhythm. I know how easy it is to say yes to the wrong things, to fill the space with noise again, to let people's expectations lead instead of your voice. I do not want to live reactive anymore. I want to live rooted. I want to respond with wisdom, not emotion, with vision, not impulse, with grace, not guilt. So build in me the strength to say no when it protects the peace you have given, the strength to walk away from what is misaligned, even if it once felt familiar, and the strength to stay the course, even when it feels slow or hidden. I know that what you build in order cannot be shaken. So teach me to trust the process, to trust the quiet foundations, to trust that what is slow to grow is often strong enough to last. Lord, I lift to you every area of my life and ask you to bring it under divine order. My relationships, may they be healthy, mutual, and centered on grace. My work, may it be purposeful, not pressured. My thoughts, may they be renewed and focused. My inner life, may it reflect the stillness we have created here. Let nothing live in chaos when your spirit is present. Let everything within me echo the peace that comes from living aligned with heaven. And Father, if there is anything in me that resists this order, anything still clinging to control or fear, help me release it again. Help me surrender all over again. Not because you demand it, but because I desire it. I want to be a reflection of your nature, steadfast, gentle, anchored, and clear. I want others to encounter you through the way I move through life. Not rushed, not overwhelmed, but stable, faithful, and full of quiet strength. This is what I ask now. Let your peace be the confirmation that I am walking in order. Let it be the signal that I am following you rightly. When peace begins to fade, show me quickly where I have drifted, not with shame, but with gentle redirection. Guide me back, align me again, keep me close. Because I know that a heart in order can weather any storm. A mind in order can resist any lie. A soul in order can carry any calling. And a life built on divine order becomes a beacon of light to a world stuck in confusion. Let me be that light, not because I shine on my own, but because your order reflects through me. Thank you, Lord, for reminding me that peace is not just the absence of problems, it is the presence of proper order. It is knowing what matters most and letting go of what does not. It is trusting that when you are at the center, everything else falls into place, not all at once, not without effort, but faithfully, gracefully, day by day, step by step, aligned with you. Father, now that my heart has begun to move in step with your order, I sense a new kind of hunger rising inside me. Not a hunger for more to do, but for something deeper to dwell within. I have cleared out the noise, released the weight, and realigned what leads me. But now, I know that to remain in peace, to stay rooted in clarity, I must not stay empty. What I cleared out must be filled, what was removed must be replaced, and nothing fills the soul like your word. I come to you this morning not just for comfort, but for truth. I want to be filled with what lasts. I want to feast on words that do not fade when the day grows difficult. I want my inner life to be built on promises that do not shift with changing emotions. I do not want inspiration that comes and goes. I want revelation that grounds me. So I open my hands and ask you to fill this space with your word, not just as information, but as the very breath that gives me life. Let your word dwell in me richly. Let it take root where fear once lived. Let it echo in places where doubt used to speak. Let it saturate every part of me until truth is no longer something I reach for in crisis, but something I walk in daily. I do not want to merely read scripture like a task to be completed. I want to let it read me. I want it to search me, guide me, soften me, correct me, and ultimately transform me. God, your word is not distant, it is alive. And when I welcome it into the rooms of my heart, it does not just decorate, it reconstructs. It tears down lies I did not know I believed. It lifts burdens I never had words for. It fills the silence with direction. And most of all, it reminds me that I am not wandering aimlessly. I am being shaped by truth that is eternal. So I ask you now to make my heart good soil. Make me receptive to your voice, even when it challenges my comfort, even when it stretches my thinking, even when it confronts the stories I have told myself. I want to be changed, not just encouraged. I want to be steady, not just inspired. Let your word form the foundation of every belief I hold and every decision I make. Father, Help me not to pick and choose the parts of your truth that feel easy. Help me embrace all of it, the strength, the conviction, the grace, the refinement. I want to trust you enough to say yes even when I do not fully understand. I want to follow even when I do not have all the answers. Let your word become my compass in confusion and my anchor in storms. Let it become the standard I measure my life by, not culture, not convenience, not emotion, but truth that does not change. And in this, I ask you to silence the other voices that try to compete with yours. The inner critic that whispers, I am not enough. The fear that says the future is uncertain. The enemy who lies about my identity and worth. Let your word be louder. Let it rise above the noise. Let it remind me that I am not what I feel. I am who you say I am. I am not defined by my past. I am rooted in your promise. Even when the days grow long and the distractions feel many, bring me back to your voice. Let it be the first thing I reach for in the morning and the last thing I rest in at night. Let it become familiar, not out of routine, but out of relationship. Let it live in me so deeply that when life squeezes me, truth is what flows out. Not panic, not old patterns, but your voice, steady and sure. I want to live a life that is so saturated in your word that everything I do carries the fragrance of heaven. Let my speech reflect your wisdom. Let my actions echo your love. Let my thoughts mirror your perspective, not because I try harder, because I have been transformed from within. This is not behavior modification. This is heart renovation, and only your word can do that work in me. So plant your promises deep, Lord. Water them daily with grace. Let them grow strong enough to carry me through anything. Let them bear fruit that nourishes not only me, but those around me. I want to be a living reflection of what it means to walk in truth. Not perfectly, but consistently. Not flawlessly, but faithfully. And if there are places in me where I have become dull to your voice, awaken me again. If I have treated your word like background noise instead of sacred instruction, forgive me. Let me return to awe. Let me tremble again at the power of what you have spoken. Let me weep at the kindness of your correction. Let me rejoice in the steadiness of your promises, and let me carry that reverence into every space I enter. You have given me a map, Lord, a light for my path, a sword for my battles, a mirror for my soul. I do not take that lightly. So today, I welcome the word again, not as a visitor, but as a resident. Not as an idea, but as my foundation. Let it shape what I believe, how I speak, who I trust, and where I go. Let it remind me that when I have nothing else, I still have truth. And truth is more than enough. I choose to build my day on your voice. I choose to let it define me. Fill me. Stretch me. Guide me and settle me. I do not just want to be someone who hears the word. I want to live it. I want to embody it. I want to carry it into every conversation, every decision, every silence. Let it be the rhythm of my steps and the meditation of my heart. Let it not only dwell in me, but dwell through me, so that your truth reaches beyond my life and touches the world around me. Father, now that I have welcomed your word into the empty spaces, I feel something steady rising within me, like morning sunlight inching through the cracks of a once darkened room. Your truth begins to illuminate the parts of me that had long been hidden in shadow, not with blinding force, but with gentle warmth. I do not feel rushed, I feel rebuilt. Quietly, kindly, layer by layer, as if you are reconstructing what life had broken and what fear had eroded. There is something sacred about this rebuilding. It does not look like the striving I once knew. It is not a frantic attempt to prove my worth or to recover what was lost. It is something simpler, truer. It feels like permission to start again, not with shame, with purpose, not because I must fix everything, but because you are forming something new, something I could not create in my own strength, something only you could design. God, I do not want to rebuild my life with old bricks. I do not want to use patterns that kept me bound. I do not want to carry over beliefs that limit your work in me. I want everything fresh, built from the foundation of truth, framed by peace, sealed with surrender. I want the structure of my soul to reflect the grace you have poured over me. And if that means starting over in places I thought were already settled, then I welcome it. Because your way is better than mine. Your vision sees further than my plans ever could. Teach me to build with wisdom, not with impulse, not with comparison, not with pressure to meet expectations you never asked me to carry. Let my days be shaped by clarity, not chaos. Let the goals I pursue be rooted in your timing. I no longer want success that comes from pushing doors open. I want fruit that grows from being planted in the right place. Let your light reveal where I have been constructing walls instead of bridges, where I have chased approval instead of obedience, where I have leaned on habit instead of revelation. I see now that what I build in the dark never stands. But what I build in your light, what is born from surrender, formed in truth, and guided by peace that will last, that will endure storms, that will reflect your glory, not my effort. I do not want to build a life that looks strong, but is hollow on the inside. I want something honest, something anchored, something beautiful because it is real. So begin with my thoughts, Lord. Reframe how I think. Uproot the lies that still linger beneath the surface. Plant new patterns that align with your wisdom. Let my inner dialogue be saturated with grace, not criticism, with hope, not fear. Let my mindset shift from self-preservation to faith-driven obedience, from scarcity to trust, from proving to resting. I want my thoughts to be a home where your truth feels welcome. Then move into my choices. Let what I say yes to reflect where I know you are leading me. Let what I say no to reveal what I have finally laid down. Let my habits be shaped by your spirit, not by culture, not by convenience, and not by shame. Teach me that small, faithful steps matter more than grand displays, that obedience in the quiet counts just as much as miracles in the open, that consistency not perfection, is how you build something strong. God, as you rebuild me, remind me that this is not a race. It is a process, and I do not have to see every detail to trust your design. Just one stone at a time, one act of faith at a time, one whispered yes at a time. And as I walk this rebuilding journey with you, help me to stay close to the light, to choose exposure over hiding, to let your presence remain my blueprint, to measure progress not by how far I have come, but by how deeply I have stayed rooted in you. And Lord, let joy return to the process. Let me not build with dread or obligation, but with delight. Let me find joy in learning, in growing, in being reshaped. Let the parts of me that once felt like ruins become testimonies of what you can restore. Let laughter rise from places where sorrow once sat. Let hope take root where doubt once held ground. Let me remember that you are not asking me to rebuild alone. You are the builder. I am simply the vessel. In this process, I may not always feel strong. There may be days when the weight of rebuilding feels heavy, but I trust that when I grow tired, you will be my strength. That when I lose sight of the vision, your word will refocus me. That when I am tempted to give up, you will remind me why I started, not because of me, but because of what you are doing in me, because of the joy set before me, because of the calling you placed within me. Let the work of my hands be aligned with the renewal in my heart. Let every conversation, every plan, every quiet act of obedience reflect the light that now fills the once shadowed corners of my life. I do not need applause. I do not need recognition. I need your presence, your blessing, and the steady knowledge that I am walking in the right direction. And Father, when others see the rebuild, let them see you. Let them see the patience that held me together, the grace that rewrote my story, the truth that anchored me when everything else felt uncertain. Let my life be a reflection of what happens when someone stops building on their own and starts trusting the divine plan instead. So today, I rebuild, but not from fear, not from pride, not from pressure. I rebuild in the light. I build with peace in my bones and hope in my hands. I build not to prove anything, but to make space for everything you are doing. I lay every stone with intention. I frame every corner with worship. I measure every step with trust. And with every layer, I become more rooted, more steady, more whole. Thank you for not leaving me in ruins. Thank you for showing me that nothing surrendered is ever wasted, that every broken place becomes a holy place when it is given to you. And now, as light continues to pour in, I will keep building slowly, faithfully, joyfully, knowing that this new structure, this new life, will not collapse, because you are the one holding it together. Father, just as you have led me into the light to begin rebuilding with your peace as my foundation, I now sense you gently asking me to let go of something, even deeper, my need for control, even as I place one stone after another, shaping a new beginning under your guidance. I can feel the familiar pull of fear trying to regain its grip, that whisper of uncertainty that asks, what if it all falls apart again? That shadow of doubt that wonders, What if the path ahead is too unknown, too uncertain, too much? And yet, in the quiet of this morning moment, I hear you calling me to release, to trust, to step forward, not with every answer in hand, but with surrender in my heart. God, I have spent so long trying to hold everything together with my own strength. I have mapped out my plans, calculated every risk, prepared for every scenario just in case. But the truth is, all of that left me more wary than prepared. It gave me the illusion of safety, but robbed me of peace. And now, in the safety of your presence, I am learning a new way, a better way, a way that does not require certainty about the road, only confidence in the one who walks it with me. Let me live open-handed, Lord, not clinging to outcomes, not demanding answers, not grasping at control. Let me wake each day not with dread of the unknown, but with delight in the adventure of being led by you. Let me not shrink back from the mystery of tomorrow, but rather lean into it because I know you are already there. You are the one writing my story, even in chapters I do not yet understand, even in the parts that feel unfinished, unanswered, unresolved. You are faithful in every page. I surrender not because I have no options, but because I finally see that surrender is the path to peace, to hand over what I cannot carry, to release what I cannot fix, to trust you with the pieces I do not know how to arrange. This is not weakness, it is wisdom, and it is freedom, the kind of freedom that breathes deep and walks steady, even when the fog rolls in, the kind that no longer panics at detours, because it knows your presence is not bound to a map. Teach me to release my timelines, to let go of the pressure to make things happen by a certain age, in a certain way, according to a certain plan. Teach me that your pace is not slow, it is strategic. That delay is not denial, it is preparation. That silence is not absence, it is space for deeper listening. Let me be okay with not knowing, and instead be anchored in knowing you. That is enough. It is more than enough. Lord, in the past I saw surrender as loss, as a last resort. But now I see it as a doorway into deeper trust, into a rhythm of rest instead of striving, into partnership with you, not performance for you. And if that means I have to walk into places where I can see what is ahead, I will do so holding tightly to your hand, not my expectations. I will no longer fear the gaps, for I know you dwell even in the in-between. When fear tries to speak louder than faith, remind me of all the times you showed up in ways I did not expect, when my plans unraveled but somehow something better was born from the ashes, when doors closed and disappointment came. Yet you were still present in the waiting room. You taught me then that faith is not about the absence of questions, it is about bringing those questions to you, honestly, and still choosing to move forward with trust. Let this surrender be daily, not a one-time event, but a constant turning toward you in my decisions, my relationships, my hopes, my disappointments. Let every piece find its place in the safety of your will. Let me trust you not just with the big dreams, but with the smallest choices, the ones that build character. cultivate integrity, and teach me to listen more than I speak. God, I open my hands today, not just to let go of control, but to make space for what you want to place in them. Peace I did not earn, joy I did not expect, provision I did not orchestrate, wisdom I did not find on my own. Let my hands not be full of grasping, but of grace. Let them be used for blessing, not for clinging, for lifting others up, not for holding tightly to what I think I deserve. This posture of surrender is the soil where your miracles take root. Let my heart find comfort in knowing that you do not require me to have it all figured out. You do not expect perfection. You only ask for faith. And even when that faith feels small, you call it enough. You honor it. You grow it. And you meet me right where I am, not at the destination, but in the moment of release. So, Father, breathe your courage into me now. The courage to loosen my grip, to walk away from my illusions of control, to let go of plans that were never mine to carry. Let this be a morning of exchange, my anxiety for your assurance, my fear for your faithfulness, my tension for your tenderness. You are not only leading me forward, you are carrying the weight I was never meant to bear. I trust that what you withhold is as holy as what you give, that what you rearrange is as intentional as what you build, that what you delay is still wrapped in love. Let me no longer measure trust by whether or not things go my way, but by whether I can see your hand in every outcome. Let my deepest desire be not for control, but for closeness, not for answers, but for alignment with your heart. And when I am tempted to take it all back, to seize control again in moments of fear, remind me of this peace, this sacred quiet where I finally let go. Remind me of the beauty in surrender, the strength in release, the holiness in not knowing but still walking forward. Let surrender not be a point of collapse, but a place of resurrection where dead things rise, where faith breathes again, where I remember that I was never meant to carry this life alone. In this space, I begin again, not with my will, but with yours, not with clenched fists, but with open palms, not with the fear of what could go wrong, but with the faith that you are always working things for good. Always, even here, even now, even in this sacred unknown, where I choose to let go and trust you with it all. Lord, in the stillness that follows the storm, when the heart has emptied its grief and the tears have carved paths too deep to trace, I come again, not as I was in the beginning, trembling, shattered, lost, but as one who has walked through the fire and has not been consumed. There is a trembling strength within me now, something fragile yet fierce, and I know it comes from you, because from the ashes of my yesterday, you are forming a foundation I never thought could hold me. I sense it, even in the quiet, even in the uncertainty that still lingers. I sense your breath breathing into my bones again. The pain has not vanished, but it has softened in your presence. What once paralyzed now teaches. What once wounded now whispers. And those whispers, those sacred echoes in the quiet places, speak of resilience. They say there is still more ahead, that the story is not over, that hope is not buried but being reborn. Lord, I lift this trembling hope to you like a sapling pushing through the soil, unsure yet determined, small but growing. Tend to it, shelter it. Teach me how to carry it well. You have shown me that strength is not the absence of sorrow, but the courage to rise again in its presence. Each moment I choose to breathe, each step I dare to take, each tear I wipe with hands that once only trembled, all of it becomes an act of worship. I no longer despise my brokenness. Instead, I offer it to you as a gift, because you are the God who mends with mercy and rebuilds with grace. There was a time I only cried out to be rescued. Now, I whisper to be led. There was a time I only saw the weight of the darkness. Now, I notice the subtle flicker of dawn pushing back its edges. I am learning, slowly, not just to survive, but to live. To rise each morning, not only with wariness, but with wonder. To search not just for answers, but for your nearness in the questions. Lord, let this be the day I walk with new legs. Let this be the morning I stretch out my arms, not in surrender to pain, but in surrender to promise. I still feel the ache of all I have lost, but it no longer defines me. I am not what was taken from me. I am what you are restoring. There is freedom in that truth, and it humbles me. It steadies me. It calls me into the open, like a deer that steps gently onto a field after the rain. I tread carefully into this new beginning. I know there will still be shadows. I know the world will not always make space for tenderness. But I also know you walk ahead of me, and with each step, you leave traces of peace for me to follow. I do not ask for a life without struggle. I ask for the strength to meet each struggle with the quiet assurance that I am not alone in it. When fear comes knocking, remind me that courage is not loud. Sometimes it is simply showing up. Sometimes it is choosing to get out of bed. Sometimes it is saying yes to a conversation or no to a lie I have believed for too long. Lord, make me brave in the small ways. Make me faithful in the little things. Make me mindful that the ordinary steps are often the most sacred. I feel it now, the shift. The heaviness is not gone, but it is no longer crushing. My heart is not healed, but it is healing. And even though I still carry the memory of night, the morning sun does not burn it comforts. Let that light lead me. Let it warm the spaces that have grown cold in silence. Let it reach even the places I have hidden from myself. You are not asking me to be perfect. You are not calling me to impress you with strength I do not have. You are inviting me to lean in, to take your hand, to walk with you as I am, and I accept. I do not know all that lies ahead, but I do know that the one who holds tomorrow is already walking beside me today. So I choose to trust, not because I feel brave, because I know you are good. I choose to stand, not because I am unshaken, because you uphold me when I fall. I choose to believe, not because the path is clear, but because your voice is still steady even when the way is not. Lord, you are teaching me how to begin again, not with certainty, but with surrender, not with answers, but with your presence. You are lifting my eyes from the ground to the horizon, and even though I do not know where the road will lead, I am willing to follow, because with you, no detour is wasted, and no step is without purpose. Hold my heart. Father, as I walk this unfamiliar road, Let every breath I take be a declaration that I still believe. Let every pause be a moment of gratitude that I am still here. And let every beat of this mending heart be a testimony that love has the final word. Even now, especially now, Lord, as the morning unfolds and the soft golden light begins to warm the edges of a world once shadowed in grief, I lean into your presence with a heart that feels the tension between resentment and release, coming from the quiet reflection that has poured from yesterday's ache. I now stand at the threshold of a new decision, to surrender the burden of bitterness and instead receive the healing balm of grace. I feel the weight of past injuries trying to pull me back into the trenches of anger and self-protection. But something deeper within me, perhaps your whisper, is calling me higher. You know the names I carry within, the faces I have tucked away behind the fences of my wounds. You know how tightly I have clutched my list of offenses, how often I have revisited the betrayal like a wound I could not let scab over. But Father, this morning, I no longer want to live bound to my pain. I no longer want to allow the shadows of another's actions to dictate the light within my soul. I bring them to you now, the memories, the offenses, the voices, the moments that left bruises no eye could see. I offer them not because I feel ready, but because I trust that in your hands, what feels like loss becomes transformation. God, speak into my fear that forgiveness means weakness. Speak into my pride that insists justice must look like revenge. Silence the noise that tells me that letting go is giving in. Instead, let me hear your heart that reminds me grace is not the denial of pain, but the holy act of placing that pain into your redemptive hands. It is not excusing the harm, but choosing not to let it steal more of my soul. Lord, teach me to forgive not because they deserve it, but because I deserve freedom. There is a river you speak of in Scripture, a river whose streams make glad the city of God. I want to step into that stream today. Wash me in that flow, where bitterness is rinsed away and peace begins to take root. Let your Spirit gently unravel the knots I have tied around old injuries. Dismantle the defenses that bitterness built, brick by brick, until I can breathe in the open air of grace again. Not cheaply, not quickly, but truly with a depth only you can forge in the furnace of surrender. I know that bitterness does not dissolve in an instant. It must be released again and again, like smoke that rises every time the embers are stirred. So today, Lord, I take the first step, and I name what I have buried. I speak their names in the quiet and offer them to you, not so I can control the outcome, but so I can finally rest. Help me believe that you see justice more clearly than I ever could. Help me remember that you are not asking me to forget, but to heal. When memories sting, let grace be the balm. When the past creeps in like an unwanted guest, remind me that my home is now with you. And you make all things new. Let my soul become a garden again, not a battlefield. Let the weeds of resentment be pulled out one by one, and in their place, plant compassion, even when it feels impossible. Let me be more tender because of the wounds, not hardened by them. Let me choose softness, not as surrender, but as strength. Father, if I am to be shaped into the likeness of your Son, then I must walk the road of mercy. Even when it trembles beneath my feet, I need you in every step, in every breath, in every tear. Show me how Jesus forgave, not in comfort, but in agony, and yet with love. That love is what I want to reflect, not just in my words, but in the unseen places of my soul where grudges once took root. Let them be uprooted now. Let them be burned away in the fire of your holiness. I do not want my heart to be a storage room for old grievances. I want it to be a sanctuary, wide open for your Spirit to dwell. So I empty it now. I release the old stories. I give you my need to be right. I surrender my hunger for vindication. Replace these cravings with a thirst for righteousness, a righteousness that flows from your love, not my hurt. Lord, make space within me. Let there be room for joy where pain once sat. Let the echoes of betrayal fade beneath the melody of your promises. Let every step I take today be lighter, because I am no longer dragging the chains of resentment. Let grace become the language I speak, the atmosphere I breathe, the light I carry. May others see the freedom you give and want to taste it too. Your mercy is not just a gift I receive, it is a river I am called to pour into the world. So show me how to become a vessel that carries forgiveness where bitterness once flowed. Teach me to bless where I was cursed, to love where I was wounded, and to smile where I once wept. Let this transformation not be momentary, but eternal, etched into the very shape of who I am becoming in you. And even if the wound still aches, let grace be louder. Even if I feel nothing yet, let obedience be my offering. Even if I have to return to this altar tomorrow and lay it all down again, I will do so, not out of weakness, because I believe you are the God who heals what others cannot touch. You are the God who rewrites the ending. You are the God who raises the dead parts of me back to life. So here I am. Father, open hands, open heart, ready, even trembling, to live free. Lord, as the last thread of bitterness unwinds from my soul and the space within me feels tender and new, I sense the quiet invitation to rejoice, not because everything around me has changed, because something within me has shifted. The freedom you birthed through grace has prepared me to welcome something I had forgotten how to hold. Joy, not fleeting happiness, not surface smiles, but that deep, glowing joy that rises like light through the cracks of a healed heart. I long to live in that joy, not only in moments of triumph, but in the sacred stillness of the everyday. God, remind me this morning that joy is not reserved for mountaintops or miracles. It is found in the breath I take now, in the gentle rising of the sun that spills over rooftops, in the warmth of my coffee, in the laughter that may come later, or even in the quiet resilience of my spirit as I rise to face the day. Teach me to notice joy as if it were the thread holding everything together. Let my eyes seek it, not as a reward, but as a reflection of your presence in the ordinary. Father, how often I have passed by joy, chasing tasks, rushing through hours, consumed by things that drain rather than fill me. But today, let me pause. Let me drink in the morning light. Let me hear your music in the rustling leaves, in the soft cadence of my breath, in the rhythm of a heartbeat that still beats because you sustain me. Let joy become the undercurrent of my soul, lifting me quietly even in the midst of uncertainty. Lord, joy is not denial. It does not pretend the world is without pain. It simply chooses not to let sorrow have the final word. I know there will be days when heaviness returns. But today, in this space of clarity, I choose to smile even if the reasons are small. I choose to laugh even if the world feels fragile. I choose to sing in whispers if that is all I can manage. Because even in broken places, you plant joy like a seed waiting to bloom. Help me to find joy in the mundane, in the folding of laundry, in the clinking of dishes, in the drive through traffic. Let these not be chores I endure, but moments I reclaim. Sacred moments, where heaven kisses earth in the form of gratitude. Let my life become a prayer of thankfulness for things I once overlooked. A quiet home, a voice that can still speak, a heart that can still feel. Let every breath be a celebration that I am still here, and you are still good. God, turn my attention toward the beauty tucked into unnoticed places. Let me see the softness in someone's eyes, the warmth of a stranger's nod, the kindness in a gesture too small to name. Let me become a collector of joy, not the loud kind, but the kind that lives in the marrow. Let me walk through this day like a garden, touching every leaf, every scent, every beam of sunlight, knowing you crafted it for me to taste joy again. And in those quiet corners where shadows still linger, where fear occasionally whispers, remind me that joy and sorrow are not enemies. They often walk together. I can grieve and still laugh. I can be healing and still dance. I can carry memories and still look ahead. Let me be at peace with this duality. Let me stop waiting for life to be perfect before I let myself feel joy. Let me choose joy as an act of faith. Father, when others see me, let them feel lighter, not because I pretend all is well, but because I carry a deeper hope. A hope rooted in you, a joy not born of circumstance, but of connection. Let my smile be honest. Let my words be filled with life. Let my presence bring calm and light to those who cross my path. Let my laughter be healing, not noise. Let my gratitude be radiant, not rehearsed. Help me create space for joy, not just for myself, but for others. Let me be someone who notices when others are fading and gently offers light. Let me be quick to celebrate someone else's victory, even when my own dreams feel delayed. Let me dance in someone else's joy as if it were my own. Let me become a bearer of good news, a whisperer of hope, a presence that lifts the atmosphere of the room without trying too hard. God, if joy is a fruit of your spirit, then I ask you to water it in me daily. Feed it with truth. Guard it from comparison. Let it grow wild and unapologetic. Let it outshine shame. Let it endure disappointment. Let it burst forth in ways that surprise even me. Let me learn to live from a place where joy is not conditional, but rooted in who you are, unchanging, faithful, near. And if today offers challenges, let joy still rise like a defiant anthem. If my plans unravel, let me laugh and find adventure in the detour. If the day grows heavy, Let the memory of your goodness lift me like a breeze. Let joy not be something I strive to manufacture, but something I surrender into something that finds me as I lean into you. So here I am again, Lord. Hands open, soul lifted, eyes wide. Let me live this day not as a burden to bear, but as a canvas to color. Let joy be the ink, and your love the steady hand guiding each stroke. Let my life tell the story of a heart set free to delight, to praise, to celebrate even if no one else sees. Because you see, and that is enough, Lord. As my soul settles deeper into the stillness you are teaching me to embrace, I feel the delicate threads of trust beginning to tighten, to strengthen, to root themselves gently yet firmly within me. The unfolding rhythm of your peace in my chest is not loud, nor hurried, but subtle and patient, like the way the morning light stretches across a field without disturbing even a single blade of grass. It is in this quiet assurance that I come again, bringing the remnants of yesterday's worries and the small tremors of today's uncertainties. I place them in your presence, not needing immediate answers, but needing you. And I find you here, again. Father, the chapter before this one began to shape a landscape of surrender and stillness. Now, let that stillness give birth to unwavering trust. Let it bloom into a quiet confidence that does not rely on signs or external outcomes, but instead leans entirely into your unseen hand. My heart is learning to stop demanding proof, and is starting to recognize your fingerprints in the ordinary, on the wind that brushes my cheek, in the silence between two breaths, and in the strength that comes when I thought I had none left to give. You are not far. You are never far. You have always been here, waiting for me to notice. God, it is in the unnoticed moments that trust begins its work, when nothing extraordinary happens, and yet something inside me shifts, when I rise and breathe and move forward without knowing how things will unfold. That is where real trust lives. I used to think faith looked loud and bold, but I am learning now that some of the deepest faith sits silently, waiting, believing, hoping in the dark. And so today, I do not ask for loud signs or dramatic rescues. I ask for the quiet grace to keep going. I ask for the inner whisper that says, "You are not alone," and the strength to believe it even when I cannot feel it. Father, I no longer want to merely admire the idea of trust. I want to live it. Let my thoughts settle into yours. Let my decisions not be rushed by fear, but shaped by quiet assurance. Teach me to release the tight grip I often have on control, on needing to know, on fixing everything before I rest. Show me how to live with open hands. Help me notice when I am striving instead of resting, when I am reacting instead of responding with peace, even in the tension of the unknown, even in the unresolved pieces. Let your presence anchor me. Let your love be the firm ground I stand on, no matter how shifting the winds may be. Lord, I think about all the things I used to chase in the name of security, achievements, approval, plans that made me feel powerful, and yet none of them ever held me like you do in the quiet. You offer me something they never could, a confidence not based on perfection or performance, but simply on your unchanging nature. You are the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So why do I fear what tomorrow holds? When I know who holds it, help me return to that truth every time I drift. Help me remember that I am safest not when life is predictable, but when I am near to you, God. For the moments that feel unsteady today, I ask for steady eyes. When I am tempted to grasp for control, gently loosen my fingers. When the unknown stretches before me like a wide, intimidating sea, remind me that you walk on water. Remind me that fear has no place in your presence, and that I can trust not only your power, but also your timing. The waiting may feel long, but it is not wasted. You are doing something in me that only stillness can create. You are not delaying out of indifference, but preparing something deeper than I can see right now. Let that knowledge settle me, hold me, and transform me from the inside out. Father, you do not rush growth. The way you shape my heart is more like the slow forming of mountains than the instant bloom of flowers. It is quiet work, deep work, often unseen, and I want to be part of it. I do not need the spotlight. I do not need applause. I only need to know that you are with me, shaping me in the hidden places, preparing me for what you have already seen ahead. Even if today looks simple, even if it feels like repetition, let me honor it as holy ground. Let me see that nothing is wasted in your hands. Not a breath, not a step, not a moment of silence. Lord, I surrender the fear that I am behind, that I am late, that I am not enough. Your pace is perfect, and you are not in a hurry. You lead me with gentleness, not pressure. You whisper to my soul, not shout. So I lean in closer, so close that I can feel the warmth of your breath in my spirit, calming every anxious thought, reminding me that I do not walk alone. You walk before me. You walk beside me. You walk within me. And in this companionship, I find the peace that no achievement could give me. I find the stillness that no outcome could secure. God, thank you for being the kind of God who does not demand perfection before granting peace. You meet me right where I am half believing, half doubting, with trembling hands and a soul that is still learning. And yet, you call me worthy of your nearness. You sit with me in the quiet, not asking for more, not pushing me forward, but simply being with me. Let that be enough today. Let that be everything. Let that be the place where trust grows silently, deeply, and faithfully, even when I cannot see it, even when I cannot feel it. I will remember that you are near, and that is enough to carry me through. Lord, in the stillness that stretches between yesterday and the unfolding of today, I come once more to sit before you, quiet but expectant. The thoughts that echoed through the dawn have not left me, and your presence, like a breath of peace, still lingers around me as each moment passes. I realize more and more how much I need you, not in a desperate cry, but in the steady longing of a heart learning to rest in quiet trust. You see me in all my fragile striving. You know the thoughts I hesitate to voice, the fears I try to bury beneath productivity or distractions. And yet, you do not turn away. You invite me closer. You call me to surrender not just my failures, but even the need to prove myself. You whisper into my spirit that I do not need to earn what you have already given. Love that does not fade, grace that does not expire, and peace that is not dependent on circumstances. I lean into that truth now, letting it become the rhythm of my breath, the anchor in my drifting. Lord, I confess that so often I chase outcomes, obsess over plans, or fixate on how things should unfold. But today, I ask for a new way of walking, one led not by control, but by confidence in you. Teach me the art of releasing my grip on what I cannot shape. Show me how to step into each moment with open hands and a spirit of expectancy, not anxiety. There is quiet strength in trusting you, a strength that does not come from pushing forward, but from learning how to be still. Let my heart draw from your steady presence. Let my thoughts settle in the knowledge that you are already in the hours ahead of me, making ways I cannot see, preparing answers I have not yet imagined. Remind me that I do not walk into uncertainty alone. You go before me. You stand beside me. You remain within me when I feel unseen. Remind me that you never lose sight of me. When I doubt my worth, teach me to remember that you have already called me chosen. When I hesitate to begin, give me courage that is not rooted in outcome, but in obedience. When I am weary of waiting, whisper again that your timing is perfect, and that nothing you ordain will be delayed beyond its purpose. Let my confidence today come not from a checklist of accomplishments, but from a heart aligned with yours. Let my assurance be shaped by intimacy, not achievement. In the places where fear lingers, replace it with the quiet courage of a soul anchored in your promises. In the spaces where I feel small, fill me with the gentle assurance that I am not insignificant to you. You see me, you know me, you hold me. Even when the day brings unknowns, I ask that my posture be one of trust. If doors close, help me to remember that you are still leading. If delays come, help me see that your hand is not withholding, but protecting. If I am misunderstood, help me to rest in the comfort that you understand. If I must walk a path alone, help me to sense your nearness in every step. Soften the noise inside my head and around me, so I can hear the subtle leading of your spirit. Tune my ears to your voice so that even the softest whisper of direction becomes unmistakable. Let me not be swayed by urgency, but moved by discernment. Give me a heart that values wisdom over reaction and truth over appearance. Help me to recognize the difference between your stillness and the world at silence. Teach me not to confuse quiet with abandonment. You are never absent in the silence. You are cultivating something deeper, something lasting. In the moments where you seem to hold back, let me learn to lean forward in prayer, not backward in doubt. Shape my thoughts, Lord, until they agree with yours. Let my inner dialogue reflect your truth. May my thoughts be saturated with grace, so that my words follow suit. Let the overflow of my heart speak kindness, patience, and peace. Let my gaze toward others be softened by the awareness of your compassion toward me. In everything today, let my movement reflect trust. In my work, let me be diligent but not driven. In my rest, let me be present without guilt. In my decisions, let me wait on you without hesitation. In my relationships, let me love without fear. Let trust be the thread that holds it all together, not a loud, flashy confidence, but the quiet certainty of being held. Lord, you are my refuge and my reason. When I look to the world for validation, gently redirect me. When I try to grasp for control, lovingly loosen my grip. When I slip into striving, remind me that you never called me to earn what has already been freely given. As the light filters more fully through the morning sky, I sense a shift not outside, but within. Something steady rises. It is not rooted in how ready I feel or how strong I appear. It is rooted in you, in your unchanging nature, in the quiet assurance that you are enough. And because you are enough, I can rest in that truth. Let the peace you offer settle into my bones. Let it still the tremble in my spirit. Let it shape how I carry myself through the hours ahead, not in haste, not in anxiety, but in quiet confidence. For you are my foundation, and when the world shakes, you remain unshaken. Let me not rush past moments of stillness. Let me find you in the pauses, in the inhale before the next demand, in the quiet walk between conversations, in the unnoticed spaces where heaven brushes against the earth. These are not interruptions, they are invitations. Remind me again and again that peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of you in the middle of it all. And if the day surprises me with the unexpected, teach me to receive it not as disruption, but as divine redirection. Your plans exceed mine. Your wisdom outruns my understanding. Your goodness outlasts my doubt. So here I am, Lord, holding nothing back, asking for nothing more than your presence to remain near, your voice to stay clear, and my heart to grow quiet enough to trust you through it all. Let the journey ahead unfold under the shadow of your wings, carried not by effort, but by the gentle power of surrendered trust. God, as I breathe in the stillness of this moment, I feel the gentle invitation to continue where I last left off with trust. That quiet confidence in you has begun to soften the anxious parts of me, and now you gently lead me deeper, asking me to let go not only of my fears, but of the tight grip I have on the illusion of control. You are not forcing it from my hands. You are simply waiting until I am willing to release it. There is something so sacred about surrender that I often miss, because I confuse it with defeat. But with you, surrender is not the end, it is the doorway into a new kind of peace. I bring to you today the tangled knots of what I try so hard to manage, the people I love that I feel responsible for, the timelines I have created in my head, the expectations I hold over my own heart, the decisions I overanalyze, and the outcomes I worry over. All of them I lay at your feet. And still, you are patient. You never shame me for clinging to what I do not understand. You simply open your hands and invite me to place my burdens in yours. You remind me that letting go is not giving up, it is giving back to you what was never mine to carry alone. I sense that you are not asking me to become careless, but to care less about controlling every detail, and instead care more about drawing near to you through them. Lord, help me today to choose presence over pressure. Let me walk slower when my thoughts want to race ahead. Let me breathe deeply when my instinct is to brace for what might go wrong. Let me pause and return to your presence when I feel that old temptation to orchestrate, to plan, to fix everything in my own strength. Teach me that it is far more holy to trust than it is to control, far more sacred to respond in faith than to react in fear. There are parts of this day I cannot predict, people I will interact with, moments I will encounter, decisions I will face. All of them hold variables beyond my ability to manage. So let me be free from the need to script it all in my mind. Let me walk into each encounter with open eyes and a heart prepared to follow you, not a plan I forced into place. If interruptions come, let them be holy pauses, not threats to my day. If things shift unexpectedly, let me adjust with grace instead of resentment. When I feel the urge to grip tightly, remind me of the birds in the sky who neither sow nor reap, and yet you feed them. Remind me of the lilies of the field who do not spin, yet are clothed more beautifully than Solomon in all his splendor. These are not just poetic images, they are lessons in how to live free, to release the lie that if I let go, everything will fall apart, because the truth is, when I let go, I fall into you. You hold all things together. You sustain what I cannot. You carry what is too heavy for me. You watch over those I cannot protect. You provide for what I cannot foresee. You are faithful, and I need not pretend to be in control to feel safe. Let truth settle deep into the marrow of who I am. Not just something I say in prayer, but something I live in thought, in posture, in presence, in the small things. Let me release control. The traffic, the tone of a conversation, the delay in an email. Let me not see them as enemies, but as reminders that I am not the center. And that is not a loss, it is a relief. I am part of your story, not the author of my own. I am a vessel, not the source. I am a child, not the caretaker of the world. And you have never asked me to be more than that. In the big things, give me the courage to surrender, the decisions that impact my future, the burdens that weigh down my relationships, the prayers that feel unanswered. I do not need to manipulate or maneuver to make things happen. Your timing is trustworthy, your hand is sure, and your way is always lined with love even when I cannot see it. Let today be marked not by how much I accomplish, by how deeply I trust. Let the measure of my peace be found not in what goes right, but in how much I remain rooted in you when things feel uncertain. Replace my impulse to control with the invitation to abide, not to strive, but to remain, to stay close, to stay grounded, to stay open. Lord, when others around me seem so sure of their paths, while mine feels unclear, remind me that hidden in the mystery is often the greatest growth. When others act with force while I am learning to move with faith, remind me that your kingdom values surrender, not performance. When I am tempted to compare, bring me back to the quiet truth that you are writing a story with my life that does not require striving to be beautiful. It only requires surrender to be holy. There is a deeper strength available when I stop wrestling for control and to begin resting in your sovereignty. A new kind of clarity emerges when I stop demanding answers and start walking with the one who holds them. So let me return, moment by moment, to this posture of open hands and a heart that whispers. You lead, and I will follow if my plans fall apart. Help me believe that something better is unfolding if I face resistance. Teach me to discern whether to press on or let go if I am delayed. Let me find you in the waiting, and if I must let something go completely, help me trust that you are more than capable of holding what I release. Let this be my prayer, not just in the quiet of the morning, but throughout the motion of the day. Let it shape how I speak, how I listen, how I respond. Let it soften my tone, slow my steps, and make space for grace in all that I do. Let surrender not be a moment I visit, but a home I live in. And let that home be filled with peace that flows not from what I can control, but from who I am held by. As I move forward now, may the unseen become sacred. May the unfinished not feel threatening. May the unplanned be met with curiosity, not criticism. And may the very act of releasing control make more room in my soul for joy, for stillness, for wonder, and most of all, for you. Father, as I lean deeper into the quiet rhythm of this morning, I continue from where you last invited me to loosen my grip on the illusion of control. That sacred release has carved out space within me, and now I feel your tender prompting to go even further, to let go of what has already passed. You gently call me out of the shadowed memories that still cling to the edges of my heart and beckon me into the light of today, into this sacred now. There are moments behind me that I revisit too often, regrets I wish I could rewrite, words I spoke too quickly, choices I made when I was hurting or afraid. Sometimes the past drapes itself around my shoulders like a heavy garment, weighing down the fresh start you offer with the newness of every morning. But here in your presence, I feel the invitation to lay it down, not to forget, but to forgive, not to erase, but to release. Lord, you do not ask me to deny my past, but to hand it over. You meet me there, in the most broken pieces, and you speak words of redemption I never knew I needed. You take what was and weave it into what is becoming. You are not bound by time the way I am. You are the God who sees the whole tapestry, while I hold only a thread. And because of that, you are the only one worthy to carry the story of my yesterdays. I do not want to live in rewind, always replaying the same scenes. I do not want to miss what you are doing now, because I am staring at what went wrong then. Help me remember that I am not the person I used to be. Each day that I have walked with you has softened the edges, healed the wounds, reshaped the way I see. The one who walked through those painful chapters is no longer who I am. I am growing. I am healing. I am being made new not just once, but continually in your love. Sometimes I hold on to shame, as if by punishing myself I can make up for what I have done. But you do not call me to punishment. You call me to freedom. You are not a God of condemnation, but of restoration. And that means I can stop dragging the weight of old mistakes into this present moment. You are not limited by my failures. In fact, you are the one who transforms them into stepping stones toward grace. So help me believe that I am not defined by the worst thing I have done or the deepest wound I carry. I am defined by your love that never lets go. Even the good parts of the past can become prisons if I hold them too tightly. Nostalgia can blur my vision if I believe that my best days are behind me. But you are the God of this breath, this step, this sunrise. You are the God of now. And I want to meet you here, not just in memory, but in movement. I want to welcome what is unfolding instead of longing for what has faded. Let me not idolize what once was and miss the miracles happening right in front of me. Help me forgive others, not because they asked or deserve it, but because I cannot carry resentment and peace in the same heart. Show me how to release bitterness without losing my boundaries. Teach me how to let go without abandoning wisdom. Let the wounds of the past become places where your light breaks through, not scars I try to hide. Use them to soften me, to make me more compassionate, more understanding, more aware of the tenderness required in this human journey. If there are names I still whisper with pain, give me the courage to speak them with grace. If there are chapters I still revisit with sorrow, teach me how to close them with kindness. And if there are moments I still grieve, remind me that mourning is not weakness, it is proof that I loved, that I felt, that I lived. Let that tenderness become a well from which I draw mercy, not regret. God, let today be enough. Let this moment not be measured against what came before or what I fear may come after. Let it be sacred in its own right. Let the sunrise be as meaningful as any memory I have treasured. Let the quiet cup of tea, the sound of birdsong, the presence of breath in my lungs, all of it remind me that I am here, and that here is holy. That you are not just the God of the past or the future, but the God of right now. When my thoughts try to pull me backward into what ifs and if onlys, pull me forward into what is. Help me wake up to this very breath, this task before me, this person I will greet, this conversation I will have, this opportunity to be present, not out of obligation, but out of reverence for what you are doing in real time. Because you are always moving, always speaking, always unfolding something new, even when it looks ordinary on the surface. Let me walk lighter today, no longer haunted by what I cannot change. Let me carry only what is needed, and let everything else fall away. You never asked me to drag the past like a chain. You invited me to step freely into your grace. And each step forward is a testimony that I trust you more than I trust my fear. That I believe in what you can redeem more than I believe in what I have ruined. So here I am, letting go again of the stories I have told myself, of the identities I have clung to, of the pain I have nursed, of the guilt I have rehearsed. I open my hands to you. Trembling, maybe, but willing. I offer you what I cannot fix and trust you with the unfolding, not to erase the past, but to let it take its rightful place, not as my home, but as the road that brought me here. And now that I am here, help me live like it matters. Help me look around and see the gift of now. The people who are still with me, the lessons I have learned, the healing still happening, the opportunities to love, to serve, to give. Let me not be so consumed by reflection that I miss revelation. Let me not be so afraid of repeating mistakes that I forget how to risk again. You are making all things new, not just someday, not just in theory, but here, in this breath, in this moment, in this me. And that is enough reason to open my eyes, open my heart, and step forward without fear. Lord, as I step into this new moment you have given, I carry the gentle reminder from before that letting go of the past is not just an act of healing, but also a way of trusting you with what lies ahead. The more I surrender what I cannot change, the more room there is within me for peace. Not the fleeting kind that comes from everything going right, but the kind that settles deep and unmoving. Even when life feels unpredictable, I sense you leading me now to a deeper release, not only of the past but of the illusion that I must control every outcome. Every detail, every twist of the day. I confess that I often try to grasp too tightly. I want things to unfold the way I imagine. I plan. I strive. I overthink, and in doing so, I sometimes crowd out the gentle whisper of your presence. I want to hold all the strings, not realizing that the tighter I pull, the more tangled my soul becomes. But you are not asking me to orchestrate perfection. You are asking me to trust, not blindly, but deeply. Not passively, but in full surrender to the wisdom you already possess. So here I am, with my heart open, learning to unclench my hands, learning that I do not have to know everything to move forward, that I do not have to predict the future in order to find peace in the present. You do not require me to have the answers. You are the answer. You do not require me to fix every broken piece. You are the healer. You do not require me to force outcomes. You are the author of my story, and that realization alone loosens the anxiety I carry in my chest. Help me begin this day without rushing. Help me not to sprint into tasks and demands before I have taken a moment to listen. Before I have breathed deeply in your presence, before I have reminded my soul that I am not alone, that you are already in the moments I have not yet seen. You go before me. You are already preparing the people I will meet, the conversations I will have, the situations that will require patience, wisdom, and kindness. And in every one of those spaces, you are the constant, unshaken center. When I find myself trying to control the reactions of others or predict the outcome of my efforts, slow me down. Remind me that I am responsible for my obedience, not the results, that I am called to faithfulness, not perfection, that I am held in grace, not driven by fear. You never asked me to carry the weight of the world. You invited me to follow you one step at a time, with eyes on you and hands ready to serve. If interruptions come today, let me see them not as obstacles, but as divine pauses, gentle detours that lead me to something more meaningful than my own agenda. If plans unravel, help me release them with grace instead of frustration. If things feel delayed or uncertain, help me to wait without losing peace. You are not rushed. You are never late. You hold time in your hands, and within that timing, you hold me. Teach me how to live from a place of rest, even while I work. Let me approach every duty today with a spirit that is calm, not frantic, not striving for approval, but moving from a place of already being loved. Let me remember that I do not earn worthiness through accomplishment. My value is not measured in how much I achieve, but in the fact that I belong to you. Let that truth sink deeper today than it did yesterday. Let it change the way I respond when things go wrong, when a mistake happens, when someone disappoints me, when I disappoint myself. Let the voice I hear in those moments be one of compassion, not criticism. Let me extend to myself the same mercy you so freely give. Let me begin again without shame, without delay, knowing that grace resets the moment. Every moment, God, when anxiety whispers its lies into my mind, help me answer with your truth. When fear tightens its grip around my thoughts, remind me that you are greater, that peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of confidence in you. And I want to walk in that confidence today. Not arrogant, but anchored, not reckless, but rooted in you, because I cannot control how others act, how the day unfolds, or how the unexpected arrives. But I can control my posture toward it all. I can choose peace. I can choose trust. I can choose to remember that you are here, even when nothing else feels certain. If something difficult comes my way today, remind me that I am not abandoned. If something beautiful surprises me, remind me to savor it instead of rushing past. If I feel overwhelmed, remind me that I can pause, that I can return to this stillness, this quiet center, where you always meet me without condemnation. You are not only found in churches and sacred places. You are here in this breath, in this room, in this very moment where I am learning to be still. Let this stillness shape how I speak. Let it soften the sharp edges of my words. Let it guard me from reactive responses and invite me into thoughtful presence. Let me be someone who brings calm where there is tension, hope where there is despair, and a listening ear where there is loneliness. Not by my own strength, but because I have made space for you to work through me. And in every decision I face today, whether small or significant, help me not to be paralyzed by the fear of getting it wrong. Instead, let me remember that walking with you is not about perfect direction, but consistent connection, that I can move forward with humility, asking for wisdom, trusting that even if I misstep, you will redirect me with gentleness, that nothing I do in faith is wasted, and nothing surrendered to you is ever lost. I want to be a person who walks light, not careless, but free, not indifferent, but deeply rooted in peace that flows from surrender. I want to carry less anxiety and more awareness, less worry and more wonder, less control and more communion. Let that be my aim as this day unfolds. Let me notice the details I would usually miss when I am rushing or controlling. The smile of a stranger, the breeze through the trees, the way sunlight dances across the floor. Let me live awake. There is so much I cannot predict, so much I do not understand. But if I have you, I have all I need to face whatever comes. Let that be enough today. Let that shape my rhythm. Let that fill my hands not with control, but with quiet courage to keep going, to keep trusting, to keep making room for peace. Father, now that I have laid down the heavy burden of control and learned to walk lighter with trust in your sovereign care, my heart turns to a deeper longing not only to carry peace within, but to become a vessel through which your grace flows outward. I do not want to merely experience your nearness for myself. I want to reflect it, embody it, and become someone through whom others sense a touch of heaven. This desire burns quietly in me this morning as I begin my day, not with ambition for recognition, but with hunger for purpose, sacred in its simplicity. Let your love not just comfort me, but change me. Let it move from the private corners of my soul into every word I speak and every reaction I choose. Help me remember that grace is not a grand performance, but often found in the smallest gestures, the quiet patience extended in traffic, the sincere smile offered to a weary soul, the moment of silence before responding in frustration. These are the places where divine love becomes tangible, where invisible things become real through the human hands you have called to serve. Today, help me notice those sacred opportunities. Help me pay attention not just to the loud needs, but also to the subtle signals of people hiding pain behind politeness. Help me listen without interrupting, encourage without needing to fix, and be present without distractions. So often, the greatest gift I can offer another is not a solution, but a space where they feel seen, heard, and safe. Teach me to be that space, Lord. There are people I will encounter today who are walking through private battles. I may never know their stories or see their tears, but you do, so prepare me to be gentle. Prepare me to be kind, even when kindness is not returned. Let my response not be based on how others treat me, but on how deeply you have loved me. Let me remember that I, too, have been forgiven much, and from that grace, I want to pour forgiveness freely. If I feel the sting of misunderstanding today, help me respond with wisdom and not with defensiveness. If I am criticized unfairly, teach me to remain rooted in your truth rather than wounded by the opinion of others. Let me take a breath and remember that my identity is not up for debate. You have already named me, already claimed me, already sealed my worth in a love that no voice can undo. Let this inner certainty make me slow to anger and quick to extend compassion in situations that test my patience. Let my pause be sacred. Let my silence be purposeful. Let my words, when they come, be chosen with care. Spoken not to prove a point, but to carry peace into the atmosphere. I know that power lies in my tongue to uplift or to wound. So help me wield that power carefully, prayerfully, always aware that I am shaping lives with what I say or leave unsaid. Let every conversation today become an opportunity to plant seeds of kindness. Help me to not become discouraged when my efforts feel unseen, when I extend grace and no one notices, when I forgive and it goes unacknowledged, when I go the extra mile and it seems like it made no difference. In those moments, remind me that I am not living for applause, but for faithfulness. That every quiet act of love is recorded in your eternal heart. That nothing done in love is ever wasted, even if it vanishes from human memory. You see, you remember, you reward in ways the world never can. And in the places where I feel stretched, where compassion feels costly, where my reserves are running low. Renew me, fill me again so I can pour again. I cannot give what I do not have, and I cannot sustain others if I am running on empty. So refill my spirit as I return to you throughout the day, not only in long prayers, but in breath prayers, in silent lifting of my heart, in whispered acknowledgement of your presence. Let me be the first to apologize, even if I was not the one most at fault. Let me be the first to include, the first to celebrate others, the first to mend a rift, the first to say, "You matter." These are not weak things. These are kingdom things. This is what strength looks like in your eyes, a strength that bows low, a strength that serves, a strength that loves in the face of indifference. Let me reflect that kind of strength today, the kind that moves with quiet power. Let grace not be just something I speak about, but something that radiates from me naturally. Let it be in how I greet a stranger, how I treat the one who is overlooked, how I carry myself even when no one is watching. Shape me into someone who brings warmth into cold places, light into dim corridors, and hope into hearts that have grown weary. Let it not be my personality, but your spirit in me. Teach me to give grace not only to others, but to myself. When I fall short, when I forget what I have prayed, when I respond poorly, help me to come back without shame. Help me to begin again without self-condemnation. Remind me that growth is a journey, not a destination. That you are not grading my performance, but growing my heart. Let that reminder set me free from the prison of perfectionism. When my energy fades, help me to rest without guilt. When I must say no, let it come from a place of wisdom, not fear. Let me honor my boundaries without apology, knowing that even Jesus withdrew to lonely places to pray. If he needed solitude to be replenished, how much more do I? So guide me to moments of stillness, however brief, and let them be holy ground. Let them restore me so that I can keep giving with joy, not resentment. I know that sometimes grace looks like resilience, like showing up when I do not feel like it, like loving again after being hurt, like trusting even when I have been disappointed. Let me carry that resilience not as a burden, but as a quiet testimony of a life anchored in you. Let it be the evidence that your spirit is alive and working in me, shaping me into someone more like you. If I encounter someone today who is hard to love, remind me that they, too, are deeply loved by you, that their story is still being written, just like mine, that their wounds may be deeper than their words reveal. Help me not to judge, but to wonder, not to react, but to respond, not to dismiss, but to pray. Let their presence in my life be an invitation to grow in grace. And in every ordinary task I complete today, let it be done with an extraordinary heart. Whether I am cleaning, working, teaching, or listening, let all of it be an offering. Let my life become a quiet, constant expression of your love to a world that is aching for something real. Let me not wait for the grand stage or the perfect conditions. Let me live my faith now, here, with what I have, and with who I am becoming. In the end, I do not seek to impress. I seek to embody grace, to embody truth, to embody love that does not shift with circumstances, but stands firm like a lighthouse in a storm. May the peace you have planted in me become peace I extend to every soul I meet. And may the grace you have poured out into me continue to overflow quietly, steadily, faithfully until this day is complete. Lord, as I continue in this space of stillness, I sense that what you are doing in me is not merely for this morning, but for a way of living an unhurried posture of heart that can remain even when the pace around me accelerates. The noise of life does not relent. The expectations, responsibilities, and voices press from every side, demanding attention, draining energy, and tempting me to perform instead of rest in your presence. Yet you whisper gently, reminding me that peace is not found in escaping life, but in anchoring my soul in you through it all. You have never called me to compete with the noise, only to remain rooted while it swirls around me. Teach me, then, how to carry a quiet spirit into the midst of commotion. Let the core of my being be undisturbed, even when the surface of my day is full of movement. I do not want to be reactive. I want to be responsive. I do not want to be tossed by every demand. I want to be led by your spirit. Show me the rhythm of grace that walks slowly even when others run. Let me move through this day with awareness rather than urgency. Help me remember that not everything requires a response, and not everything urgent is important. Grant me discernment to know when to speak and when to be silent, when to act and when to simply be present. Make me a person of depth in a world obsessed with display. Lord, quiet my spirit where it is restless. If I am anxious about outcomes, I can take control. Help me release them into your hands. If I am tempted to rush ahead, slow me down until my soul catches up to my body. If I am pressured to prove my worth, remind me that I am already beloved, already enough in you. Let the weight of all I carry be surrendered into your gentle keeping, so I can walk upright, lightened by trust. There will be voices today, voices that criticize, voices that compare, voices that demand more than I have to give. But yours is the voice I choose to follow. Yours is the voice that speaks life. Not pressure, hope, not fear. Invitation, not expectation. Tune my ears to the sound of that voice. Let it become the compass that orients my soul back to center when I drift. Let it be louder than my inner critic and gentler than the voices of shame. I know that stillness is not passive. It is powerful. It is the posture from which wisdom flows, from which courage rises, from which love becomes sustainable. When I move from a quiet spirit, I do not move aimlessly, I move with clarity. So shape my day from this stillness, not from striving. Let the overflow of your peace in me become a countercultural way of showing up in every space I enter. Help me resist the pressure to always be accessible, always be productive, always be impressive. Free me from the addiction to doing. Let me live as someone who understands that presence is more valuable than performance, that being deeply rooted in you bears fruit far richer than frantic effort. Let my relationships flourish not because I do more, but because I am more present, more whole, more anchored. Teach me that peace does not mean perfection. It means surrender. It means I can be unfinished and still at rest. I can face unknowns without fear. I can walk through uncertainty without losing my joy. Because peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of Christ within it. Let truth settle deep into my bones today. There will be interruptions, small irritations, unexpected delays, and moments where things do not go according to plan. In those moments, help me pause. Help me breathe. Help me remember that every inconvenience is an invitation to return to stillness, to respond instead of react, to remain aligned with you rather than scattered by stress. Let me not mistake stillness for weakness. It takes strength to remain gentle in the face of tension. It takes courage to choose peace when provoked. It takes faith to slow down when the world is speeding up. Make me brave enough to live differently, not for applause, but for alignment with your heart. Let this quiet spirit be my resistance to a world addicted to noise. If others misunderstand my calm as indifference, give me grace to stay grounded in truth. I am not withdrawing, I am anchored. I am not careless, I am careful to walk in step with your spirit. And if I am met with chaos, let me be the one who brings calm. Let the stillness you have nurtured in me spill outward in every room I enter. In my work, let me bring focus. In my family, let me bring presence. In my decisions, let me bring prayerful attention. Let my day not be hurried, but holy. Not cluttered, but intentional. Not reactive, but spirit-led. Let each moment feel infused with eternity, as I move not for approval, but from identity rooted and grounded in love. Lord, help me not only protect my peace, but cultivate it. Water it like a garden. Nurture it like a flame. Guard it like a treasure. Let it grow so full within me, it naturally becomes the climate I carry. Let others feel it when they sit beside me. Let it settle the restless and soften the weary. Let it be a quiet witness of the Prince of Peace residing in me. When I begin to drift, when anxiety creeps in, or comparison starts whispering, or fear begins to rise, gently call me back. Back to breath, back to presence, back to you. Teach me that one quiet moment with you can reset the tone of my whole day. That stillness is not wasted time, but sacred ground where strength is renewed and vision restored. Let my eyes see beauty even in the midst of routine. Let me notice the sunlight on the floor, the rhythm of my breath, the kindness of a stranger. These small things are not small, they are reminders of the sacred hidden in plain sight. Let them anchor me again and again throughout my day. And if I face conflict, let me remain rooted. Let me listen before defending. Let me seek understanding before needing to be understood. Let my words be few and full of grace. Let my tone be soft and steady. Let my heart remain calm, even if the conversation is not. I want to carry stillness like a mantle of quiet authority, not with pride, but with peace. In the quiet, I hear you most clearly, not in the volume of life, but in the whisper beneath it. Teach me to live tuned to that frequency. Let it shape how I move, how I work, how I speak, how I rest. Let me become someone who does not just experience peace, but embodies it, someone whose very presence makes the world feel a little more gentle. So as this day unfolds, whatever comes, let me not be hurried. Let me not be scattered. Let me not be swept away. Let me be still. Let me be steady. Let me be soft but strong, quiet but firm, gentle but full of fire. Let your peace in me become a living testimony that there is a different way to live, and it begins by resting, not racing, and trusting that you are enough for every step I take. Father, as I remain in the stillness you have cultivated in me, I realize how necessary it is to carry that stillness into every interaction, not only for my own peace, but to be a vessel of yours. The more I walk with you, the more I see how much this world aches, how many hearts are heavy, how many people are fighting invisible battles behind smiles. And I sense you inviting me to be a presence of compassion in the midst of that ache. Not one who fixes or solves, but one who sees, who listens, who cares in a way that costs something. Let my peace never be a wall that separates me from others. Let it be a bridge, a gentle warmth that invites others in. Let it not become detachment. Instead, let it awaken me to the quiet needs of those around me. The friend too tired to ask for help. The coworker hiding behind performance. The stranger who just wants to be acknowledged. Help me not to move so fast that I miss what matters most: human connection. Sacred attentiveness. Simple love. God, slow my gaze today so I can see people as you see them. Not for their usefulness, not for what they produce, not through the lens of comparison, but through the eyes of dignity, eyes that recognize the divine image in each soul, no matter how hidden. Help me notice the ones who are often overlooked, those who feel invisible, those who go uncelebrated. Let my heart not grow numb in the face of repeated suffering. Let it break with yours, and from that place, let love rise. Sometimes I hesitate to love deeply because I fear I do not have enough to give. But you remind me that compassion is not about having it all together. It is about showing up with an open heart. I do not need perfect words or endless time. I only need a willingness to see and respond. So remind me that kindness can be small and still sacred. A text, a smile, a moment of patience, a shared silence. These are seeds of healing in a world starving for gentleness. Let compassion soften my words when I am tempted to speak sharply. Let it shape my reactions when I feel offended. Let it interrupt my assumptions before they harden into judgment. Let it widen my world when I feel stuck in my own story. And when I face people who are difficult or unkind, remind me that they too are loved by you. That behind every sharp edge is a wound. That behind every angry word is often unspoken pain. Give me the grace to stay tender when the world tells me to be tough, to choose empathy when cynicism would be easier, to keep believing in beauty even when disappointment darkens the view. Let me not grow weary in offering care, even when it feels unnoticed. Let me not become disillusioned by a lack of return. Let me remember that love is not a transaction. It is a calling, a way of being, a reflection of your heart in mine. There are times, Lord, when I feel emptied by the needs around me, and I fear I have nothing left to give. but you remind me that I am not the source you are. So I return to you again and again, not just for peace, but for replenishment. Fill me so I can pour out. Fill me so I can overflow with love that is not mine alone. Love that is not limited by mood or circumstance, but rooted in the steady rhythm of your grace. When I walk into rooms where the atmosphere feels heavy, let me carry light without forcing it. When I encounter someone whose walls are up, let me bring warmth without pushing in. Let me become a quiet mirror of your gentleness, speaking truth not through volume, but through presence. Let my calm become a sanctuary. Let my presence become an extension of your love, especially when words are not enough. Help me be someone who makes others feel safe. Safe to be themselves. Safe to be broken. Safe to hope again. Let me not be so consumed with being right that I forget to be kind. Let my convictions never override compassion. Let my beliefs never build barriers where bridges are needed. Teach me how to hold both truth and tenderness, both clarity and kindness, without contradiction. God, when I find it hard to care, when I feel numb or disconnected, remind me that love is not always a feeling. Sometimes it is a choice, a quiet resolve to show up again, to forgive again, to listen again, to believe again. Let me be faithful in the small acts that seem invisible. The way I speak to the cashier, the way I wait in traffic, the way I respond to interruption. These are moments where love is formed in the unseen. Let me love not just the easy, the pleasant, the agreeable, but the frustrating, the hurting, the misunderstood. Let my compassion be inconvenient, because real love rarely fits neatly into schedules. Let it cost me something. My comfort, my pride, my control. And when I feel the resistance rise within me, let that be the place you meet me most deeply, not with shame, but with grace, calling me gently forward. Give me wisdom not only to know when to help, but how to help. Teach me when to sit and when to speak, when to step in and when to simply hold space. Let me not assume what others need. Let me ask. Let me listen. Let me be willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of someone else's healing. And when I cannot understand their pain, let me still offer presence. Let me still stand near. There will be moments today where I have a choice to defend myself or to listen, to walk away or to lean in, to harden or to soften. Lord, help me choose softness, not because it is easy, but because it is sacred, because every act of compassion is a crack in the darkness, a sliver of light that reminds someone they are not alone. And maybe that is enough for now. Make my heart spacious. Spacious enough to hold tension without snapping. Spacious enough to remain open even when hurt. Spacious enough to include those who think, believe, or live differently than me. Let love not be a theory, but a lived practice. A daily laying down of self, a continual becoming more like you. And in the becoming, let others catch a glimpse of your love reflected in my eyes. So wherever I go today, whatever I face, whoever I meet, let me ask not what they deserve, but what they need. Let me respond not from ego, but from empathy. Let me become someone whose first instinct is not to judge, but to understand, not to correct, but to connect. And even if I stumble or fall short, let me return to compassion again and again, until it becomes my nature, until it becomes my name. Let compassion be the rhythm that guides my steps, the thread that ties my day together, the light I carry into every shadow. Let it not be something I do, but who I am becoming. And may the echo of that compassion ripple far beyond what I will ever see. Quiet, steady, and endlessly kind. Lord, as I take these final breaths in the stillness of morning prayer, I find myself not at an ending, but a beginning. This space carved with you each morning has become a resting place for my soul, a quiet river I return to before stepping back into the noise of the world. There is no need to rush forward now, no urgency to close what was never meant to be closed. Instead, I breathe in the calm, the slow unfolding of faith, the gentle assurance that you are with me still, just as you were when the day first stirred. You have walked with me through fear and doubt, through hunger and gratitude, through surrender and trust, and now you walk with me into the ordinary hours ahead, not because I have earned your presence, but because you delight in being near. You do not measure my worth by what I achieve today. You see the quiet strength it takes to keep showing up. You know the tears I never let fall, the silent hopes I carry in the corners of my heart, and you remain. Even now, as the sun begins to press its golden fingers into the sky, I sense you leaning close, reminding me that I was never alone, not in the aching nor the joy. You have been in the breath, in the silence, in the pause between thoughts, in the tremble of my voice as I tried to speak truth when it was easier to be silent. You have been in the moments I chose gentleness over being right, in the way I stayed soft in a world that rewards hardness. I know today will not be perfect. I may forget again. I may run on empty, lose my patience, tighten my shoulders, feel like giving up. But I no longer believe those moments define me. What defines me is your love that continues to choose me. Shape me, hold me even when I fall short. What gives me hope is not my perfection, but your consistency. You are steady when I am shaky, whole when I am fractured, peace when I am spinning. So I let go of needing to have it all figured out. I let go of comparing my pace to others. I let go of waiting until I feel brave enough. I begin now. I begin gently. I begin trusting that you will meet me in the unfolding, in the trying, in the returning. That even when I am uncertain, I can still move forward, one small act of love at a time. That sometimes, the most courageous thing I can do is simply not give up. Let me carry the warmth of these quiet mornings into the places that feel cold. Let me become someone who brings steadiness to the unsteady, softness to the harsh, and hope to the tired. Let my presence be rooted in peace, not in performance. Let my voice be a resting place, not a thunderstorm. Let my eyes reflect the way you see people, not for what they lack, but for who they are becoming. Thank you for every moment you whispered truth when lies felt louder. Thank you for the courage you placed in me when I felt fragile. Thank you for the unseen grace that carried me through days when I did not think I could carry myself. Thank you for showing me that healing does not always look like strength, but often looks like choosing to rise again. Thank you for reminding me that hope is not naive, it is defiant. It refuses to surrender, even when the night is long. And as I step into this new day, I will not look for signs or wonders to know you are near. I will look for the breath that fills my lungs, for the rhythm of my steps on the ground, for the kindness that stirs within me. These are proof enough. These are sacred. These are the echoes of a love too deep for words. A love that follows, that goes before, that surrounds and anchors. I do not ask for everything to be easy. I ask only to be faithful, faithful in love, faithful in showing up, faithful in returning to this place of quiet, even when I feel far from it, and when the noise grows loud again, when the world demands more than I think I have. Let this morning stay with me. Let it linger. Let it remind me that stillness is never lost, it just waits patiently for my return. To the ones who have traveled this prayer journey with me, thank you. Thank you for breathing with me in the quiet, for bringing your heart near, for choosing to begin your day with intention and with presence. Your spirit is not alone here. Your hunger for peace, your ache for healing, your desire to draw close to something greater than yourself, it matters. And it has made this journey sacred. If your heart has been moved, if a line settled into your soul, if a quiet strength has risen in you, I invite you to share it. Let this not be a one-way offering, but a circle of voices lifted together. Leave your thoughts, your prayers, your reflections below. Someone else may need the courage you hold. Someone else may need to see their own longing in your words. This space was never meant for silence. It was made for communion. And if this has nourished you, if it has met you where you are, I invite you to carry it forward. Share it with someone who needs light today. Share it with someone walking through shadow. Share it not because it is perfect, but because it is real. And if this space has become a home for your spirit, I welcome you to return subscribe to this channel. Stay connected and continue to begin each day rooted in prayer, in love, in quiet trust. Because even as this chapter closes, the journey of the soul never does. It is always rising, always stretching, always reaching toward light. And somewhere, just beyond this moment, morning continues to unfold. The breeze begins to stir. The first light kisses the tips of the trees. A stream trickles softly through the rocks, carrying with it the promise of movement, of renewal, of life that never truly stops. This is not the end. This is the beginning of whatever comes next.